Chapter 283. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? Say net, providing you with wonderful novels to read. This was Night Sorrow's intuition. This kind of violent, baleful aura, as well as the empty pressure, was very strong after entering the void fiendish space. Love gone little say W. Chew in comparison from feeling the fire attribute energy to finding the fire attribute source stone, it was only a range of 10,000 miles. What did this mean? This meant that there might be source stones in places that emitted hollowness, violence, and baleful aura. Moreover, they were of a much higher grade than fire and water attribute source stones. Resisting the pressure, Night Sorrow continued to control the tiger eagle to fly. As they moved forward, Night Sorrow saw many high-level demonic beasts, some of which were even stage 4. There were also some whose cultivation he could not see. Fortunately, these demonic beasts could not fly. Night Sorrow moved forward while observing the surrounding situation. The harsh environment did not make Night Sorrow nervous. Instead, it made him feel relieved. This way, others would not be able to get ahead of him and he would not lose the initiative. In this kind of exploration, the initiative was especially important. It was just like how he had obtained the fire and water attribute destiny stones. They were his. The people who went in later could only dig for the spirit stones he did not want. But at such a crucial time, who would dig for spirit stones? Looking at the tiger eagle under his feet and Chanyu flying beside him, Night Sorrow felt that his speed was definitely fast. Even if the others had flying demonic beasts, they would not be of a higher grade than Chanyu's or stronger than Chanyu's. Chanyu's flying was already very difficult, let alone the others' flying demonic beasts. It had to be known that many people did not have flying demonic beasts. Day after day passed. Night Sorrow sat on the tiger eagle and led Chanyu forward. Just yesterday the tiger eagle had advanced to stage 3, level 6. Its strength had increased, and its resistance to pressure was stronger than before. Night Sorrow's cultivation was also rapidly increasing. He was now using the spiritual origin liquid to cultivate. It was more effective than any pill. 1 drop of spiritual origin liquid was enough for him to absorb for 2 days without any side effects. Night Sorrow was unable to estimate the value of the 2 jars of origin spiritual liquid. In the Medicine Valley, only Heaven Stage disciples were qualified to use the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid, and they were only allowed to use 2 drops a year. However, Night Sorrow's spiritual liquid of origin was much more effective than the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid. Moreover, he didn't even need to count the drops. He had 2 full jars. Origin spiritual liquid was a rare treasure. Just taking out a small bottle was enough to shock many people. As he continued to cultivate, Night Sorrow's true chi cultivation was not far from the peak of the 8th level of the core condensation realm. His myriad Dao treasure tome had also reached the middle of the 5th level of the bone forging realm. His chest and abdomen had also strengthened by half. However, as they ventured deeper, the tiger eagle could no longer hold on. Night Sorrow did not even know how many tens of thousands of li he had advanced. The violent energy was tyrannical. However, the suppression of this kind of aura was still manageable. This kind of violent aura had an extremely strong sense of emptiness, which greatly weakened the resistance of Night Sorrow, Chanyu, and the tiger eagle. Seeing that the tiger eagle's flying speed was no longer there, Night Sorrow controlled the tiger eagle and Chanyu to land. He put them away and then began to walk. The feeling of landing on the ground was indeed different. Feeling that he had roots, Night Sorrow began to run. Right now, Night Sorrow felt as if he was climbing Danding Cliff. The pressure was comparable to the energy impact of Danding Cliff, which was about 4,000 meters high. This degree of pressure was not difficult for Night Sorrow. In order to seize the time, Night Sorrow increased his running speed. Night Sorrow shuttled through the forest and grassland. When he encountered a demonic beast, as long as it couldn't attack him, he would ignore it and advance at full speed. After running for a few hundred li, Night Sorrow saw an opponent whose cultivation level he couldn't see clearly. It was a lion with blood-colored fur. This blood-colored lion blocked Night Sorrow's path forward. Holding the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow sized up this lion. He knew that the demonic beasts in the void fiendish space had a much stronger fighting strength than the demonic beasts of the same level in the outside world. Their temperaments were extremely violent. In addition, they were also used to the environment here. They grew up here and had already adapted to the energy suppression here. While Night Sorrow was sizing up this blood-colored lion, the lion moved. Its 2 zhonglong body leaped up and rushed towards Night Sorrow at an incomparably fast speed. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and thrust it out. The blood-colored lion in the air didn't change its path and continued to pounce. At the same time, one of its front paws slapped towards the reincarnation spear. This time, Night Sorrow didn't use the vibration force. He directly used the wave force. He didn't want to shake off the blood-colored lion's sharp claws. He wanted to directly break the lion's claws. Gotcha. With a crisp sound, Night Sorrow's ferocious spear directly chopped off one of the blood-colored lion's front paws. He then executed the soaring dragon steps and dodged to the side. When Night Sorrow dodged, the blood-colored lion missed its target. After missing its target, the blood-colored lion only had 3 legs left to support its body. At this moment, the blood-colored lion's bloodthirsty temperament could be seen. It didn't care about its broken front paws and continued to pounce towards Night Sorrow. When the blood-colored lion had 4 legs, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid, let alone now that it only had 3 legs left. After a few rounds, Night Sorrow slit its throat with a single spear strike. Night Sorrow split open the blood-colored lion's head with a single spear strike and took out its demonic core. Demonic beasts were different from humans. A human's demonic core was in their dantian. However, most demonic beasts had their demonic cores in their heads. After putting away the demonic core, Night Sorrow released the tiger eagle and Tianyu. Seeing the blood-colored lion's corpse, the tiger eagle rushed over. Its bloodthirsty nature liked this kind of prey. When the tiger eagle moved, Tianyu also went over and began to eat the blood-colored lion's corpse. This made Night Sorrow, who was about to feed Tianyu with the spirit spring liquid, stunned. In the past, Tianyu wasn't like this. Night Sorrow then understood that this was the influence of the void fiendish space's aura. Night Sorrow didn't stop Tianyu. After all, a demonic beast's body contained a very rich blood essence. Eating this wouldn't harm Tianyu. When the tiger eagle and Tianyu finished eating, Night Sorrow put them away and continued to move forward. While moving forward, Night Sorrow put the bone-corroding grass-poison stone bag on his waist and the sky-piercing spear on his back. Night Sorrow knew that as they moved forward, the situation would become more and more dangerous. Demonic beasts of all levels would appear. Once a demonic beast appeared that he couldn't kill, he would have to use some tricks. As they moved forward, fewer demonic beasts appeared. However, the demonic beasts that appeared had the same thing in common, and that was their strength. In such an area, ordinary demonic beasts couldn't exist. Just like the lava lake that Night Sorrow went to, the environment wasn't suitable for demonic beasts to live in. However, if there were any, it would be dangerous. It was definitely a heaven-defying demonic beast. First we send. After moving forward for another 6 days, Night Sorrow was a little worried. The strength of the energy suppression had increased a lot. It was about the same as Danding Cliff's 4600. If this pressure continued to increase, it would be hard to say if he could get close to the core area. Although he was worried, Night Sorrow still moved forward. If there was an opportunity, he had to fight for it. If he couldn't fight for it, it was one thing. If he fought for it, it was another thing. Chapter 284. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I'll provide you with a wonderful novel to read. Su Wang's face was gloomy. He looked at the magma pool and the empty pool of water origin spiritual liquid without saying a word. Love go little say, Webka cousin, the spirit stones that were dug out might be top grade and upper grade spirit stones. What's left are middle grade spirit stones, Su Yuan said angrily. Spirit stones are nothing. This is the middle of a huge magma lake. The fire attribute energy is very dense. An origin stone might have appeared, but we don't know who got it, Su Wang said coldly. Is that possible? Su Yuan said in shock. It's very possible. We're in the middle of this magma lake. Look at the edge of the magma pool. That's a sign that it hasn't cooled for long. That means the fire attribute energy here has decreased recently. The fire attribute energy here was much denser before. This means that a fire attribute treasure has been taken away, Su Wang said. Then what should we do? We can't guess which direction this person left in. Su Yuan was a bit anxious. This time he came out with instructions from his sect seniors, so he naturally knew how precious the Heaven's Mandate stone was. What kind of concept was this? At least he didn't go out the way he came. We can see him that way. Let's go out and check. Su Wang walked out of the cave. In front of the Destiny Stone, middle-grade spirit stones were nothing. As they checked, they found the tiger eagle claw mark. That bastard, he has a flying beast, Su Yuan cursed. To be able to fly out of this magma lake, it must be a high-level flying beast. We don't know which direction he flew in. This claw mark is special. It's not an ordinary flying beast. We can recognize it when we see it. Let's stick to our original plan and head towards the place with the denser energy. The treasure might not be the only place, Su Wang said. If we want to fly, can our golden-eye sparrow withstand the temperature of the magma lake? Su Yuan was unsure. No, we have to go out the way we came. Flying above the magma lake will consume a lot of energy. If we can't fly out, we'll be dead. Su Wang did not dare to take the risk. Night Sorrow dared to take the risk because he had the spiritual spring nectar and a large amount of spiritual origin nectar. Su Wang also had spirit spring water, but he only had a small amount. He would not waste it here. In fact, if he hadn't obtained a large amount of origin spiritual liquid from the underground cave, Night Sorrow wouldn't have been able to fly on the Tiger Eagle. He really couldn't afford it. Night Sorrow withstood the impact of the energy as he advanced. He treated this as a form of cultivation. He ate the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill and Spiritual Origin Liquid to withstand the pressure as he advanced, using the pressure to temper the energy he absorbed. The Spiritual Origin Elixir was extremely helpful to the cultivation of true Qi, but it was not as helpful to the cultivation of the myriad Daos treasured tome. Therefore, Night Sorrow wanted to consume the Dragon Flood Bone Forging Pill. Time passed bit by bit, and Yi Shan's speed became slower and slower. Night Sorrow walked forward during the day and meditated at night. In any case, he had good wine and meat jerky in his storage ring, so his daily life was not a problem. After half a month, Night Sorrow felt that the pressure he was facing was about the same as the pressure at Danding Cliff. In other words, it would be very difficult for ordinary core condensation cultivators to advance here. However, Night Sorrow also saw a special area. It was a mountain whose peak could not be seen. Energy ribbons could be seen rotating around the mountain. Seeing this situation, Night Sorrow was very happy. This was the situation when he had obtained the fire and water elemental origin stones. Love Gon Little Say Ko. Although he was happy, Night Sorrow knew that the next 100 miles would be very difficult to cross. After calming down, Night Sorrow started to attack again. He knew that it would be easy as long as he reached the foot of the mountain. The energy strips were produced when the energy exceeded the gaseous state and was close to the liquid state. At that time, the pressure would not be omnidirectional and could be avoided. What Night Sorrow didn't know was that in other directions, there were also people who were moving forward under the pressure, but their speed was much slower than his. Hundreds of miles to the east of Night Sorrow, several young men in embroidered clothes were constantly rushing forward. They were still far away from the mountain and could not see it. Brother Qingjie, we can't go on. If we continue to attack like this, there will be no end. A man in embroidered clothes said. The source of the energy suppression is definitely abnormal. It is very likely that there is a peerless treasure. Otherwise, no one will be able to get it. If we can get it, it will belong to our holy light religion. Then you guys can slowly walk behind. I will attack first. Ho Qingjie said. After entering the different space, he had a breakthrough and entered the severed divinity stage. With the true Qi protecting his body, he had an advantage over the others. Ho Qingjie slowly distanced himself from the others. It's meaningless for us to follow like this. Even if there are benefits, it will be taken away by others. Should we change direction? The man who spoke first suggested. His suggestion was adopted by the others. Several people separated to look for their own opportunities. In another direction, the same situation occurred. Everyone was not stupid. They knew that the source of the energy shock would be a precious treasure. It might be the destiny stone that the sect had urged them to obtain. However, the current situation was that the pressure was too great. Many people could not withstand it. Night Sorrow continued to attack. When he was 10 miles away from the bottom of the mountain, the energy suppression had reached the level of the 5,100 meters platform at Pill Tripod Cliff. The constant advance consumed a lot of Night Sorrow's energy. Fortunately, he had the spiritual liquid origin. If he consumed too much, he could directly use the spiritual liquid origin to replenish it. At the foot of the mountain, the energy suppression was reduced. Because the energy density had reached an extreme, it turned into energy stripes. It was not a seamless suppression. After taking a sip from the wine jug, Yi Shang turned around to look. Night Sorrow was very glad that he was able to reach here. The pressure in the final stage was at the 5,200 meters level at Pill Tripod Cliff. There were only a few core condensation disciples in the Medicine Valley who had reached this height. Other than that, it was a temporary impact. The pressure here was continuous for tens of thousands of miles. The people in the Medicine Valley could reach the 5,200 meters level at Pill Tripod Cliff, but they definitely could not reach here. Putting away the wine jar, Night Sorrow avoided the energy ripples and began to climb the mountain. The visible energy stripes were not much of a threat to Night Sorrow. He used the soaring dragon steps and quickly rushed to the top of the mountain. The lack of pressure made Night Sorrow feel abnormally relaxed. As he moved quickly, clouds and energy stripes appeared under him. However, he still could not see the end of the mountain. Night Sorrow continued to move and climb while avoiding the energy stripes that were getting denser and denser. 10,000 meters, 20,000 meters, Night Sorrow conquered higher and higher. Although there was no energy suppression, the feeling of emptiness and violence was still in his mind and heart. Head 4, Hair 0, the consumption was too great. Night Sorrow did not care about the heartache. He directly replenished his spiritual liquid origin and continued to attack the mountain. Chapter 285. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After looking at the clouds and energy strips below him, Night Sorrow raised his head and looked up. He still couldn't see the top of the mountain. Night Sorrow also noticed a special situation. The energy strips that he could see were blood-colored, but if he sensed it carefully, he would find that there was a very strong fluctuation outside of the red energy strips. It was an energy that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. In order to confirm his judgment, Night Sorrow broke off a rock from the mountain and threw it at the energy strips not far away. He threw it at the periphery of the blood-colored energy strips. The moment the rock was thrown, the energy fluctuation appeared and directly crushed the rock. The blood-colored energy strips only fluctuated a little. Night Sorrow took a deep breath. This rock confirmed his guess. The invisible energy outside of the blood-colored energy strips was the most dangerous. He didn't know what kind of energy it was, but he knew that it was very domineering. After stabilizing his emotions, Night Sorrow continued to charge upwards. He didn't believe that there was a mountain that he couldn't climb. As he climbed, the energy strips became denser. Night Sorrow was now also scouting ahead. He used the sky-piercing spear to scout ahead. He was also worried that he would encounter the invisible energy strips. 30,000 meters, 40,000 meters. Night Sorrow was extremely shocked. This wasn't a mountain range but a lone mountain. It was simply unimaginable that a lone mountain could have such a height. The highest mountain he had ever seen was the Eastern Snow Mountain in the Far East ice field, but it was far inferior to this. While throwing the sky-piercing spear with the Ice Flood Dragon tendon, Night Sorrow climbed upwards. He didn't need to use the Ice Flood Dragon tendon to climb, but he was afraid that the energy strips would send the sky-piercing spear flying. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to find it. Climbing wasn't strenuous. Night Sorrow mainly focused on dodging the energy strips. As for riding a flying demonic beast, Night Sorrow didn't dare to think about it. The energy strips dancing in the sky were definitely a forbidden zone for flying demonic beasts. 60,000 meters, 70,000 meters. Night Sorrow estimated that he had climbed about 70,000 meters. The mountain walls were getting steeper and steeper. Sometimes, Night Sorrow had to stab the sky-piercing spear into the mountain walls to climb up. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.ichuxs. After climbing for a while, Night Sorrow finally saw the peak of the mountain. At the same time, he also saw the situation at the top of the mountain. In the sky above the mountain peak, there was an enormous spinning energy vortex. The energy vortex covered the sky. Slowly, Night Sorrow arrived at the peak of the mountain. Standing at the peak, Night Sorrow felt what it meant to be lonely at the top. This was the true peak of a mountain. The peak of the mountain was only 20 to 30 feet in radius. This mountain was more than 70,000 meters tall, and there was only a small landing area at the peak, surrounded by cliffs. This lone peak was like a sharp awl, and Night Sorrow was standing at the tip of the awl. Above Night Sorrow's head was a huge energy vortex. Love gone little sake. Night Sorrow couldn't see how big the vortex was, but circles of blood-colored energy were spinning in the vortex. Night Sorrow knew that in the middle of the blood-colored stripes, there were even more tyrannical invisible energy stripes. Above Night Sorrow's head was the center of the vortex, and there were two round beads at the center. The one in the middle was a pale purple bead the size of an egg. It was spinning rapidly on its own. Not far from it, there was a blood-colored bead. The blood-colored bead was spinning around the purple bead like the energy vortex. Destiny stones. After observing these two beads, Night Sorrow knew what they were. They were destiny stones. Moreover, they weren't ordinary destiny stones. They were the spatial origin of this fiendish space. The blood-colored one was the fiendish chi origin stone. It should be called the origin bead because it was an existence that surpassed the origin stone. Night Sorrow didn't know what attribute the other bead was, but he knew that the feeling of emptiness and powerlessness was coming from this bead. Fiendish space. Could this be the origin stone of the void attribute? This thought appeared in Night Sorrow's mind. After letting Tianyu out and telling Tianyu to stand still, Night Sorrow flashed and stood on the back of Tianyu's neck. His right hand, which was wearing a claw glove, reached for the Blood Fiend Destiny Bead. He knew that the core of this place was the purple Destiny Bead, so it wasn't wrong to grab it first. After being grabbed by Night Sorrow, the Blood Fiend Destiny Bead shook a few times and then stopped moving. Yishang took out a jade box and put it away. He put the Blood Fiend Destiny Pearl into his storage ring. Then he reached out to grab the Void Destiny Pearl again. Just as he grabbed the purple Void Fate Bead, Night Sorrow's expression changed. The shaking force was too strong and he almost couldn't grab it. Landing on the ground from Tianyu's back, Night Sorrow's true chi and myriad Tao Tome's energy exploded at the same time. His right hand tightly grabbed the purple Destiny Bead. His right hand almost couldn't hold it anymore. Night Sorrow put his left hand together and grabbed the purple Destiny Bead with both hands. When his left hand and right hand came together, something that shocked Night Sorrow happened. The purple Void Fate Bead drilled into Night Sorrow's bare left hand. Like a wave of energy, it directly entered Night Sorrow's dantian. Then it stopped beside Night Sorrow's dantian and stopped moving. This situation shocked Night Sorrow. Such a dangerous thing had actually entered his dantian. Any shake could destroy his dantian, and it could even blow Night Sorrow into pieces. Night Sorrow carefully tried to circulate his true chi. After feeling that there was no problem, he used his true chi to hit the purple Destiny Bead twice. The purple Destiny Bead still didn't react. Only then did Night Sorrow put his foot down. When Night Sorrow felt a little more at ease, his expression changed again. At this time the wind and clouds changed. The energy whirlpool in the sky began to riot because it had lost its core. The strips of energy surrounding the mountain began to disperse, turning into a visible energy ball. Night Sorrow didn't care about that. He let out Tianyu and had Tianyu dodge the energy ball. Then he rode Tianyu down the mountain. He told Tianyu that if he was sucked in by the energy ball, he would be done for. Night Sorrow rode Tianyu down the mountain. The energy at the top of the mountain began to riot. Then it blew up the mountain and continued to press down. The sound of explosions continued to ring out. The energy pressed down closely behind Night Sorrow and Tianyu. The sky was filled with rocks as they flew down the mountain. Tianyu also knew that the situation was urgent. His flying speed was peerless. It was as if he was competing with the falling rocks. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at the mountain that was getting shorter and shorter. He was very shocked. He had destroyed this great monument of nature. X $8 unique/original version 1, W's is the Q Steel E version. The peak of the mountain had been flattened. It was 10,000 meters high. The mountain had become thicker, but the energy ball didn't break. However, the surface of the mountain was still exploding, but the speed had decreased. After all, the mountain had become thicker. Tianyu, speed up. Let's run. Now that there was no danger, Night Sorrow was excited. He waved his arms and shouted. Tianyu let out a cry and continued to fly down the mountain. The harvest this time was too great. 2 space source stones. They were the source of the entire space. How could Night Sorrow not be happy? But then a problem appeared. The Nihility Fate Pearls and Blood Evil Fate Pearls were taken away. The originally incomparably tyrannical energy suppression disappeared. The others did not have to endure the pressure anymore. All kinds of flying demon beasts appeared and flew towards the lone peak. Everyone knew that this was a key area. Night Sorrow saw the black dots from afar and immediately understood what was going on. Chapter 286. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow rode on Tianyu and flew close to the mountain peak. Due to the angle, the people in the distance couldn't see them. Love gone little say W. Chu. At this moment, Tianyu's speed was extremely fast. It knew that the situation was urgent. Since it had lived with Night Sorrow since it was young, Night Sorrow had never urged it. Night Sorrow was descending rapidly. The disciples of the super sects were riding on flying demonic beasts and didn't notice that Night Sorrow had already slipped down. When they weren't far from the bottom of the mountain, Night Sorrow rode on Tianyu and began to fly horizontally. Just when Night Sorrow thought that everything was fine, a few men rode on flying demonic beasts and blocked his path. Which force are you from? What happened here? A man looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I don't know. I just arrived, Night Sorrow said. Leave your storage ring and flying demonic beasts and scram. The leader of the group, a man in a white robe, glanced at Night Sorrow and said. Get out of the way. I'll pretend that nothing happened. Night Sorrow didn't want to hurt anyone. He just wanted to leave. Do you want to die? Didn't you hear what my senior brother said? A young man in a brocade robe said flatteringly. Baidu search AI go female sign shao say www.ichuxs.com. Since you want to die, I won't talk nonsense. Night Sorrow shouted for Chanyu to fight. Then 2 sky-piercing spears flew out. After shooting out the sky-piercing spears, Night Sorrow's body soared into the sky. The reincarnation spear slashed at the leader of the group. The reincarnation spear was also infused with vibration energy. Following 2 miserable screams, Night Sorrow's violent sky-piercing spears killed 2 young men who weren't prepared for battle at all. You're courting death. Seeing that 2 of his fellow disciples had been killed, the white-robed young man was enraged. He waved his saber and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. At the same time he also left his mount. Ding. When the weapons collided, the young man's saber was deflected to the side. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear swung and slashed across the young man's throat with ease. #L is the only true YC version, and the other 1+3 are all pirated. After slashing the man's throat, Night Sorrow rushed towards the last person. Since he had already made his move, Night Sorrow had no intention of leaving anyone alive. Stop. We are from the Scarlet Cloud sect. Seeing Night Sorrow coming over, the man rode his flying beast and rushed up the mountain. His speed was incomparably fast. When Night Sorrow killed his 2 companions with his sky-piercing spear, he had already retreated. He could tell that Night Sorrow was no match for him. Seeing this guy running away, Night Sorrow called back Chanyu, who was about to chase after him. If he wanted to chase after him, it would be a waste of time. With so many elites gathered here, it was better to leave. Night Sorrow went to the corpses and collected the 2 storage rings, 1 storage belt and 3 beast-taming crystals. He also collected the 3 green-feathered eagles from the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples, collected the sky-piercing reeds and left on Chanyu. Night Sorrow didn't need the flying beast, but many people did. The disciples of Yang Lei Aoi and the others all lacked it. Night Sorrow rode on Chanyu and flew rapidly in the sky. After flying for 700 to 800 li, he saw Yu Lin Tianjue Gu Lin and 2 other disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow. Yu shouted. Night Sorrow controlled Chanyu to stop in the air and said, the disciples of all the forces have gathered in front. There's nothing to gain and there will be a chaotic battle. Alright, let's retreat then. Yu nodded. Alright. I just killed a few people. Our robes are the same. Don't count it to me. Night Sorrow didn't wait for them and left. He still had to find resources. Night Sorrow left, but Lin Tianjue didn't move. Martial Uncle, I think this is an opportunity. Night Sorrow doesn't dare to fight with him alone, but we have more people. Lin Tianjue said. In terms of seniority, he's your martial uncle. How can you call him by his name? Gu Lin, what do you think? Yu glared at Lin Tianjue and then looked at Gu Lin and the others. I'll listen to martial uncle and senior brother Lin. Gu Lin and the others said. Some of them were already out of ideas. They had already lost a few people on the way here. If they split up now, it would be very dangerous. I'm going. I can't come here for nothing. Lin Tianjue had already made up his mind. Alright then. Let's go. Seeing Lin Tianjue's insistence, Yu didn't object. After all, they had been together for a long time. The escaping Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple flew towards the peak of the mountain. When he reached the peak, he saw the scene of a confrontation. The disciples of the major forces were facing each other and looking around. Senior brother Lei Bao, a few of our senior brothers were killed by a guy riding a white flying demonic beast. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple came to the front of the Thunder Rumbling sect's leader. A white flying demonic beast. Shangqiu, take a look. Is this the feather? Lei Bao took out a white feather and handed it to the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple. It was a feather that Chanyu had dropped when he was hit by a rock. Thunder Rumbling sect and Scarlet Cloud sect were allies. This time, Scarlet Cloud sect had also entered through the passage of Thunder Rumbling sect. Yes, that's right. It's the flying demonic beast with this feather. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple, Shangqiu, took a look at the feather and said, he's the one who got here before us. Let's go. Lei Bao glanced at the disciples of the other forces and flew down the mountain. Since they knew who had arrived before them, they had to find him first. Lei Bao was the leader of the Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples and had already entered the Severed God realm. Soon after, some of the disciples of the other sects left to chase after Night Sorrow. Some of them searched the peak of the mountain, hoping to find an opportunity. More and more people left. Those who came here were the elites of the major forces. They weren't brainless. The environment here had been destroyed, which meant that the treasure that controlled the balance here had been lost. Before Yu and Lin Tianjue reached the peak, they were stopped by Lei Bao and the others. Shang Qiu had pointed out that Yu and the others were the same as Night Sorrow. Soon after, a battle broke out. Because Lei Bao had entered the 4th level, Yu and Lin Tianjue were no match for him. They were all seriously injured and captured. Who's the one riding the white mount? Lei Bao looked at Yu. I don't know. Yu answered Lei Bao and turned his head to the side. Tell me, who are you? Who's the one riding the white mount? Lei Bao asked Gu Lin. If you want to kill us, then kill us. Don't talk so much nonsense. We are all cultivators. Humiliating us is meaningless. Gu Lin spat out a mouthful of blood and said, Then tell me. If you don't, then there's no point in keeping you alive. Lei Bao's heavy sword was placed on Lin Tianjue's neck. Lin Tianjue was silent. He didn't expect Lei Bao to be so ruthless when he asked him this question. You are different from them. They didn't hesitate when they answered. Even if you killed them, they wouldn't say anything. I know that. But you will say it's because your eyes are wandering and you are afraid of death. Lei Bao's heavy sword slowly pressed down on Lin Tianjue's neck. Chapter 287. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They don't even have confidence in you, haha. Are you going to talk or not? If you don't, then die. Lei Bao laughed and continued to press his heavy sword against Lin Tianjue's neck. I'll talk. Looking at Lei Bao's cold face, Lin Tianjue was scared. Lin Tianjue, you piece of trash. Gu Lin scolded. Ignoring Gu Lin, Lin Tianjue spilled the beans and told him everything about Night Sorrow. Let him go. Lei Bao pointed at Yu. CDG version IP Chapter 5 on TD. The Disciple of Thunder Sect released Yu. You have a backbone and strength. How about this? You go find Night Sorrow and tell him that the people of Medicine Valley are in our hands. Tell him to go to the entrance, I'll wait for you there. Lei Ming looked at Yu and said. Yu looked at Lei Ming and didn't say anything. He went over and helped the other disciples of Medicine Valley up and gave them healing pills. Go ahead. Don't think about saving Night Sorrow. I'll get the location of the entrance to Medicine Valley from him. You can give up on this shameless guy, but what about them? Lei Bao put away his heavy sword and slapped Lin Tianjue's face. Then he pointed at Gu Lin and the other two. I'll tell him, but please don't abuse the disciples of Medicine Valley. Yu looked at Gu Lin and the others and said. Lei Ming raised his leg and broke one of Lin Tianjue's legs. This is not worth your pleading. As for them, as long as they don't run, I won't make it difficult for them. After breaking Lin Tianjue's leg, Lei Bao said. Trash. Martial uncle, you didn't let you come, but you insisted on coming. Then you shamelessly betrayed your fellow disciples. Even if others don't punish you, I won't let you go. Gu Lin glared at Lin Tianjue. Lin Tianjue's face turned pale. He didn't expect Lei Bao to be so ruthless. Lei Bao was very famous in Thunder Sect. Before he entered the spirit-severing stage, he was invincible in the core condensation stage of Thunder Sect. Give him some resources and a few healing pills. Lei Bao said to a Thunder Sect disciple behind him. Lei Bao took Yu and the other storage rings. The Thunder Sect disciple took out a storage belt and threw it to Yu. Go find Yishang. We'll head towards the passageway of your Medicine Valley. After you find him, don't leave the passageway. If you do, the other disciples of the Medicine Valley won't be able to leave, Lei Bao said. He planned to block the spatial passageway of the Medicine Valley. Yu didn't say anything. He flashed onto the back of the flying beast and left, following the path Yishang had taken. It did not matter if Lin Tianjue was saved or not, but there were still the 3 elite disciples of the Medicine Valley. Furthermore, Lei Bao would go to the spatial passageway and make things difficult for the other Medicine Valley disciples. Night Sorrow is the strongest person in the Medicine Valley team. No matter what Night Sorrow does, Night Sorrow must know. Night Sorrow traveled for more than 5,000 miles before he got down from Tianyu's back. He let Tianyu recover while he took a rest. This distance is relatively unsafe, but Night Sorrow is not afraid. At least he won't be surrounded. As long as he is not surrounded, Night Sorrow is not afraid of any battle. Night Sorrow first organized the materials of the Red Cloud Sect disciples. The 3 of them also collected a lot of herbs. Night Sorrow felt that the 4th and 5th level materials can be used to refine a lot of pills. After organizing the materials, Night Sorrow began to meditate cross-legged. There is still something in his dantian that can go wrong at any time, the Void Fate Pearl. He controlled the spiritual energy in his dantian to collide and refine the void fate pearl. Night Sorrow studied it for an hour, but there was no reaction from the void fate pearl. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow calmed down a little. It was an opportunity to obtain the void fate pearl. Normally the void fate pearl would not hurt him. If it did not approve of him, it would not enter his dantian. Feeling that there is no problem, Night Sorrow began to cultivate after consuming the spiritual liquid of origin. He is not far from the 9th level of the core formation realm. He may reach the peak of the 8th level at any time. Under the high pressure, it is difficult for Night Sorrow to cultivate slowly even if he wants to. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow began to move forward. He let Tianyu patrol in the air while he walked on the ground to look for spiritual herbs. Night Sorrow did not expect to have any big harvest. He has already obtained the space origin of the void fiendish space. What big harvest is there to look for? Perhaps there are other space origins in other places. But in this space with a radius of millions of miles, it is as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find it. It is a heaven-defying opportunity to encounter it. What Night Sorrow did not know is that it is not only the people from the Thunder Rumbling sect and EU who are looking for him. People from other sects are also looking for Night Sorrow, who is wearing a white battle suit and riding a white demonic beast. Many people heard the conversation between Shang Qiu and Lei Bao. Everyone believed that Gu Feng's treasure was taken by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow walked in the direction of the Medicine Valley. While looking for opportunities, he also improved his cultivation. After walking for a day, when they were about to set up camp in the evening, Tianyu in the sky let out a cry. Two people appeared in Night Sorrow's sight. "Senior brother, it should be him." A man in a black robe said. "These two people are from the Holy Light Temple. They have been to Gu Feng's peak and saw Tianyu, so they made this judgment." Seeing the hostility of these two people, Night Sorrow did not say anything. He took out the sky-piercing spear and threw it. These two sky-piercing spears were dodged by the two Holy Light Temple disciples. However, Night Sorrow threw out another two spears. These two sky-piercing spears, which were imbued with vibration scripture, bounced off the other side's blocking weapons and directly nailed them to death. Night Sorrow stepped forward and collected the storage belts of the two guys. After taking back the sky-piercing spears, he left. If it was a strong opponent, Night Sorrow would be interested in exchanging pointers with them. However, this was also a level 8 core condensation stage opponent. Night Sorrow was not interested. Half an hour after Night Sorrow left, EU appeared. Seeing the blood stains that had not dried up in the wounds of the two people, he suddenly felt happy. He could see that the wounds were penetrating wounds, traces of a spear-type weapon. However, there were not many people who used spears. In this different space, he had not seen anyone who used a spear. At present, he only knew that Night Sorrow used a spear. Riding on his flying demonic beast, EU began to give chase. He had to find Yi Sorrow. The current situation was still not out of control. If he could solve the problem before Lei Bao gathered the Thunder Rumbling sect disciples to block the entrance, then the crisis would be resolved. After chasing for a while, EU saw Night Sorrow, who was making a fire and roasting meat. Night Sorrow. Jumping off the flying demon beast, EU staggered toward Night Sorrow. What happened to you?" Night Sorrow helped EU up and poured a bowl of wine for him. He could see that EU was injured. "We have a problem. Do you have any way to solve it?" After drinking a bowl of wine, EU explained the situation in detail. "Lin Tianjue. What a scourge. Where are they now?" Night Sorrow was very annoyed. He had already said that he did not want to go, but Lin Tianjue still wanted to go. In the end, he even betrayed him. This was a typical shameless villain. Chapter 288. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They should be behind us. I followed the direction you went. Lin Tianjue and the people from the Thunder Rumbling sect should be heading in the direction of the Medicine Valley, EU said. Let's go intercept them. We can't let them go to the Medicine Valley's entrance to the alternate dimension. Otherwise, it will be troublesome and bring danger to the others, Night Sorrow said. But they have a lot of people. That Lei Bao has a cultivation of the 4th rank. Although EU felt that Night Sorrow's words made sense, she was worried that they wouldn't be a match for Lei Bao's group. I'll deal with Lei Bao. Can you hold off the others for a while? Night Sorrow asked after thinking for a while. I need to recover. My injuries will affect my battle, EU said apologetically. Take this. If you can't hold them off, throw it at them. When you do, use your true chi to break the cloth bag. Night Sorrow gave the first simple poison stone he made to Iyu. What's this? Iyu looked at Night Sorrow in confusion while holding the cloth bag. Poison stone. As long as it comes into contact with flesh, it will corrode the opponent's flesh and bones, Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Iyu's hand trembled. This inconspicuous bag of stones was too ruthless. Love go little say W, chew, then let's go find them now. Let's find their tracks first and then find an opportunity to make our move, Night Sorrow said as he stood up. Night Sorrow, my flying demonic beast has run out of energy. Iyu glanced at his eagle trainer and said, don't worry. You can ride on this. Night Sorrow casually summoned the tiger hawk. Looking at the ferocious tiger hawk, Iyu was shocked. You have 2 flying beasts? Yes, let's go. Saving the others is more important. Night Sorrow flashed onto Tianyu's back. Seeing Iyu also get on the tiger eagle's back, Night Sorrow gave the order to fly because the tiger eagle wouldn't listen to Iyu. Sitting on the back of the tiger eagle, Iyu ate some food. Night Sorrow also gave Iyu some healing medicine. During battle, Iyu had to contribute. Iyu pointed in a direction looking for the path they came from. Night Sorrow only knew how to identify the direction, he didn't really pay attention to the path. After chasing for 2 days, Night Sorrow and Iyu found some traces. They were the claw marks of several flying demonic beasts and some blood-stained medicinal cloths that had been thrown away. It shouldn't be wrong. They're not far ahead of us, Night Sorrow said after looking at the marks on the ground. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do? How are you going to fight? Iyu's priority was Night Sorrow. Our priority is to save the others. The rest is secondary, Night Sorrow said. There's another situation. Lin Tianjue's leg is broken and it's not easy to save him. However, if we don't save him, the location of the Medicine Valley's entrance will be exposed. Iyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Then if there's a chance, we'll take care of him, Night Sorrow said. Iyu nodded. He also wanted to kill Lin Tianjue. After all, Lin Tianjue had betrayed the Medicine Valley, his senior and junior brothers, and his Uncle Master's elders. The 2 of them chased slowly while Iyu recovered from his injuries. One day later Iyu spoke, Night Sorrow, I can fight now. That's good. After they set up camp at night, the 2 of us will take action. Your main task is to save the others, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, you have to take care of your own safety. If you can't do it, retreat. This incident was caused by us, Iyu said apologetically. Night Sorrow shook his head, there's no use thinking about it now. When the time comes, throw the people you save onto the tiger eagles. Their safety will be guaranteed. At night, Night Sorrow and Iyu sneaked to Lei Bao's camp. Gu Lin and 2 other disciples of the Medicine Valley sat together with their hands tied. Lin Tianjue was on the other side. Gu Lin and the others hated Lin Tianjue so much that they didn't want to sit with him. Around Gu Lin and the other 2 sat 3 disciples of the Thunder Clan. Beside Lin Tianjue was a disciple of the Thunder Clan and there was another tent. Night Sorrow and Iyu knew that it was where Lei Bao and the other disciple were staying. Night Sorrow took out 2 sky-piercing spears and pointed to where Gu Lin and the others were. More. Tinu, 7 fastest, Iyu nodded and took out his long sword. When Iyu was ready, Night Sorrow made his move. The 2 sky-piercing spears shot towards the 2 disciples of the Thunder Clan who were guarding Gu Lin and the others. With a loud explosion, Night Sorrow's 2 sky-piercing spears killed the 2 disciples of the Thunder Clan. After releasing the Tiger Eagles, Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and charged towards the last disciple of the Thunder Clan who was guarding Gu Lin and the others. Now that there was no one around Gu Lin and the others, Gu Lin waved his long sword and cut the ropes binding them. He then threw them onto the back of the Tiger Eagles. After doing this, Iyu charged towards the disciple of the Thunder Clan who was guarding Lin Tianjue. Ding. Night Sorrow's sure-kill spear attack towards the disciple of the Thunder Clan was blocked. Night Sorrow was forced back 2 steps while the disciple of the Thunder Clan was pulled behind a man. You are Night Sorrow? Lei Bao asked. It was Lei Bao who saved the disciple of the Thunder Clan. Yes, I am. Night Sorrow looked at Lei Bao. Lei Bao's strength was very strong. The violent energy that was transmitted to Night Sorrow's hand made Night Sorrow somewhat uncomfortable. Don't move. If you come any closer, I'll kill him. The other disciple of the Thunder Clan who was holding Lin Tianjue couldn't resist Iyu's attack. He retreated a few steps and put his long sword on Lin Tianjue's neck. Lei Jing, kill him and then come over. Lei Ming said to the disciple of the Thunder Clan who was holding Lin Tianjue. You can't kill me? Lin Tianjue's expression changed greatly as he shouted. You are not the same as them. They don't want to talk. I didn't make things difficult for you guys in the Medicine Valley because I would do the same if it were me. But you are too unprincipled. Lei Bao waved his hand at Lei Jing. Lei Jing waved his sword and cut off Lin Tianjua's neck. Night Sorrow and Lei Bao looked at each other. On the other side, Yu also took back Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spear. You are very brave. Then let's settle this in a man's way. If you win, you can take all of them in these. If you lose, you have to hand over what you got in the Lonely Peak. Lei Bao waved his hand and threw out the storage rings of Yu, Gu Lin and the others. Good. If I knew you would settle this in this way, I wouldn't have killed them. Night Sorrow glanced at the corpses of the two people he had just killed and said, this is the fate of practitioners. If you lose, I will avenge them. If I can't win, then I have fulfilled my responsibility as a fellow disciple. Lei Bao said. Then come on. Night Sorrow waved his arm and twisted the reincarnation spear in his right hand. The blade of the spear made a soft sound, announcing the start of the battle. Chapter 289. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Lei Bao knew that if they were to fight, the result would not be good. There would be casualties among the disciples of the Thunder Clan. Love, going little, say, W. Chu on Night Sorrow's side, he had already rescued the person, so he had nothing to worry about. If he wanted to leave, they might not be able to stop him. In addition, Lei Bao also wanted to fight fair and square. Night Sorrow's spear just now had made his fighting spirit boil. Brandishing the heavy sword in his hand, Lei Bao jumped up and slashed towards Night Sorrow. The tip of the heavy sword shot out half-a-foot-long sword chi. This was the signature of a 4th-rank cultivator, the release of chi. 3rd-rank cultivators had Dan beads, so their chi was very condensed. 4th-rank cultivators could release their chi to form a protective chi, and it could also be used to attack. Seeing Lei Bao rushing towards him, Night Sorrow stabbed his spear towards Lei Bao. Ding! Their weapons collided. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back, and Lei Bao was also pushed back by Night Sorrow. One move, neither of them had the upper hand. Night Sorrow's shock force was cancelled out. Lei Bao also had a special technique, the explosive force. The shock force was cancelled out, but Night Sorrow's body was strong, so he did not lose out. Instead, he had the upper hand. The two of them did not move and looked at each other. It was the first time Night Sorrow met an opponent who could resist his shock force. Lei Bao was the same. He was shocked. His cultivation was 2 levels higher than Night Sorrow, and there was a gap of 1 level between them. Even with the explosive force, he still could not gain the upper hand. After looking at each other, the two of them continued to fight. The sound of chi colliding could be heard continuously. Although Lei Bao was at a disadvantage because he was not as strong as Night Sorrow, his chi was strong enough to resist the shock force. He could still fight head-on with Night Sorrow. The battlefield between the two was constantly shifting. The Thunderstorm sword technique was violent and exquisite. It could block Night Sorrow's wind-chasing spear technique, but if it wanted to block Night Sorrow's spear technique, it would be impossible for it to continue attacking. Thunderstorm was able to block it, but Night Sorrow continued to bombard it. He knew that Thunderstorm was consuming more energy than him. The battle between the two had attracted the attention of the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling Clan and the Medicine Valley. This was simply not a battle of this level. It was too wild and overbearing. Lei Bao had the ability to fight above his level, and similarly Night Sorrow also had the ability to fight above his level. Just using the sword technique was not enough. Lei Bao used the heavy sword in his right hand to block Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Then he used his left hand to send a palm strike towards Night Sorrow. Lei Bao's palm attack was exactly what Night Sorrow wanted. Night Sorrow's left hand, which was wearing the Azure Claw glove, met Lei Bao's left hand. When he sent out the palm strike, an energy whirlpool with a diameter of 1.5 feet appeared on his hand. The night light was not good, and there were only a few piles of charcoal. When Lei Bao realized that something was wrong, it was already too late for him to withdraw his attack. He could only send all the chi in his body to his left hand to protect his left hand, and continue to attack. Bang! With a muffled sound, the two separated. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back, but Lei Bao did not. Lei Bao was directly sent flying by Night Sorrow's Vajra hand, which was infused with the energy of the myriad Tao Tome. After Lei Bao landed on the ground, his left hand was trembling, and his expression was extremely unnatural. Lei Bao was at a great disadvantage. 1/3 of his chi protection was shattered by Night Sorrow. Not only did he consume a lot of energy, the bones in his left hand were also shattered. After repelling Lei Bao with one move, Night Sorrow stomped his foot and charged towards Lei Bao. At this moment he did not consume a lot of energy so he could fight against Lei Bao. Although Lei Bao's left hand was injured and consumed a lot of energy, it did not affect his fighting strength. His violent sword art was still able to block Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear attack. However, he did not use his explosive force to attack, and instead used it to defend against Night Sorrow's shock force attack. It was impossible for Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear to rely on the shock force to repel Lei Bao's heavy sword. Seeing that Lei Bao used his explosive force to defend, Night Sorrow immediately changed the way he used his strength. He changed the shock force into the wave force. The wave force was not as ferocious as the shock force, but wave after wave of continuous bombardment made it even harder for Lei Bao to defend. After being bombarded by Night Sorrow's violent spear once again, Lei Bao retreated a few steps and waved his hand at the advancing Night Sorrow. If you only want to take them away, then you win. If you want to take revenge for him or have other thoughts, then I can only fight with my life. You can kill me, but you will have to pay a great price. Lei Bao glanced at Lin Qianjue's corpse and said, "He's not worth my revenge. I will save them." Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Lei Bao. He knew that Lei Bao was very magnanimous and would have a life-saving trump card. He was definitely not bluffing. Lei Jing, bury them. I, Lei Bao, am in the wrong for this matter. For the opportunity, I can only look for you like this. I am not your opponent, so the opportunity is yours. I will not have any more thoughts about it. Lei Bao said after putting away his heavy sword. AB latest chapter #Part 1, Magnanimous. I am very grateful that you did not make things difficult for them. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and threw it to Lei Bao. He appreciated people like Lei Bao who was straightforward and not hypocritical. Lei Bao took the wine jar, opened it and drank 2 mouthfuls. Not bad, good wine. I believe that we will have a chance to meet again. If you don't mind, we will be friends again. Good. Next time we meet, we will be friends. You pack up and leave. Night Sorrow nodded and then shouted to Yu. There is one more thing I need to tell you. The passage that your Medicine Valley used to enter here may have been exposed. Thunder Rumbling Clan and Red Cloud Clan are allies. Red Cloud Clan's Shangqiu asked him to draw a map and then took it away. Because we are allies, although I was not happy, I did not stop him. After all, your news was brought to me by Shangqiu. Lei Bao pointed at Lin Qianjue's corpse and said, "Some things are unavoidable. Thank you for reminding me." Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Lei Bao and then released Tianyu. He flashed to Tianyu's back and gave the order to the Tiger Eagle in the sky. On the other side, Yu had already received the resources from Gu Lin and the others and got on the back of her tiger trainer. After flying for 1,000 miles, Night Sorrow let Tianyu and the Tiger Eagle land. The night was still not safe. Demon beasts were rampant, and they would be in danger if they were not careful. After getting off the tiger trainer, Yu returned the storage rings, resources, and beast-taming crystals that Lei Bao had robbed from Gu Lin and the others. Thank you for saving us, Martial Uncle. Gu Lin and the others bowed to Night Sorrow to express their gratitude. At the same time they felt guilty. If they had not gone to the Lonely Peak, none of this would have happened. I am glad that Lin Qianjue was the only one who betrayed me. However, because of me you guys have to suffer. Night Sorrow said. We did not suffer. The disciples of Thunder Rumbling Clan only tied us up and did not let us escape. They did not bully us. It was that scum Lin Qianjue who was often beaten up. Gu Lin said. All of you should recuperate. We don't have time to continue looking for opportunities. If we return to the passageway too late, the other disciples of the Medicine Valley will be caught in the crossfire, Yi Shang said. Chapter 290. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Chapter = section N, on %. The truth was obvious. When they first met Lei Bao and fought, Yu and Gu Lin attacked Lei Bao at the same time. After a few rounds they were injured by Lei Bao and were captured. Baidu search Love Go female sign Xiao at www.ix. So now Night Sorrow defeated the overbearing Lei Bao by himself. After feeding Tianyu and Tiger Eagle beast pills, Night Sorrow sat down to cultivate. Gu Lin and the others changed shifts. Everyone knew that it was not safe at night. After cultivating until the second half of the night, Night Sorrow realized that his true chi had reached a bottleneck. He had reached the peak of level 8 core formation and needed to advance. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow called Gu Lin, who was on night duty. I'm going into seclusion. Wait for me when the sun rises. After instructing Gu Lin, Night Sorrow asked Tianyu to guard him and went to break through. Baidu search love go female sign xiao shuat www.achux. Gu Lin stayed outside to guard Night Sorrow. The sky soon brightened. Night Sorrow was also at the point of breaking through. The ninth energy halo was slowly forming. Gu Lin, EU, and the others were on guard outside. They were extremely shocked. Night Sorrow had only been in the Medicine Valley for less than 2 years. He had already reached level 9 core formation. Which one of them had not cultivated for more than 10 years? After successfully breaking through, Night Sorrow stabilized his cultivation before ending his cultivation. After getting up, Night Sorrow looked at everyone. If there's nothing else, let's set off. Return to the entrance and arrange for the others to prepare for an emergency. Love go xiao shua wuku, okay. EU nodded and got on the back of the eagle trainer. The others also released their flying beasts. These people were all in the top 10 of the pill leaderboard. They all had flying beasts and were very strong. They were captured a while ago because they met the abnormal Lei Bao. It's just that it delayed the search for resources, Gu Lin said regretfully. Night Sorrow glanced at Gu Lin and the others and said, if you can't get the resources, then we'll just rob you. Anyone who comes near the entrance of the Medicine Valley has bad intentions. We'll just rob you directly. Martial Uncle is so domineering. Gu Lin and the others laughed. Night Sorrow told Tianyu to ignore EU's eagle training and began to meditate to stabilize his cultivation. In the following days the group sped up their journey. It was a long journey. Night Sorrow had taken more than a month to get here. Although he had wasted some time due to the pressure, it was impossible for him to return quickly. Night Sorrow cultivated on Tianyu's back during the day, but he was not idle at night either. After half a month, Night Sorrow's cultivation had increased a little. His bone forging cultivation had also reached the peak of the 5th level. He had finished strengthening his chest and abdomen. As long as he strengthened his bone marrow, he would enter the 6th level of the bone forging realm. When they set up camp at night, Night Sorrow purposely stayed away from the others. He had the Tiger Eagle stand guard outside. After Tianyu stayed close to him, he began to break through. Strengthening his bone marrow was a painful process, but Night Sorrow had already gotten used to it. However, he did not expect a situation to occur. Night Sorrow was in extreme pain. His body was trembling and his forehead was covered in sweat. His facial muscles were twitching uncontrollably. This was discovered by EU, who was on night duty. EU was shocked. He planned to wake Night Sorrow up. This kind of situation was usually caused by a heart demon. Just as EU was about to wake Night Sorrow up, Tianyu could not take it anymore and began to attack. Facing Tianyu's attack, EU retreated, not knowing what to do. EU had no choice but to call Gu Lin and the others over. What should we do? If we forcefully wake him up, his martial uncle will be seriously injured. Perhaps he can survive, said Gu Lin. How can this be? He's just cultivating, not breaking through. How can there be a heart demon? EU anxiously paced back and forth. Night Sorrow was still working hard to break through. As the most important part of his bone marrow was strengthened, the pain lessened and his external condition improved. Seeing this, EU and the others relaxed. They did not know that if they really interrupted Night Sorrow, it would be troublesome. In the middle of the night, Yi Shang successfully raised the Myriad Tao Scriptures bone forging realm cultivation level to the 6th level. Night Sorrow did not get up. He stabilized his cultivation until dawn. He took out a wine jar and drank 2 mouthfuls. Martial Uncle, are you all right? Asked Gu Lin as he walked over. I'm fine. What could happen to me? Said Night Sorrow with a smile. He was in a good mood now that his cultivation had increased. You encountered a heart demon last night. It's good that you can survive, said Gu Lin as he walked over. Yishang was stunned for a moment. He didn't know why everyone was looking at him strangely. We wanted to wake you up, but Tianyu stopped us, said Gu Lin. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and understood that it was caused by his breakthrough last night. Fortunately, Tianyu stopped them. Otherwise, it would be a big problem. I was cultivating. If you interrupted me, it would be troublesome. Let's not talk about it. Let's go. Night Sorrow put away the Tiger Eagle and jumped onto Tianyu's back. Night Sorrow felt a lingering fear. If Tianyu hadn't been so strong and knew how to protect his master, he would have been tricked. His breakthrough would have been interrupted, and his vitality would have been greatly damaged. He didn't know how long it would take to recover. This time, something had almost happened. Night Sorrow decided to stay away from this group of people when breaking through in the future. It was too easy for something to happen. The following days were peaceful. There were monster attacks, but they were not strong. Gu Lin and the others took care of them. Half a month later, forced a breakthrough. He knew that there might be a big battle at the space passage of the Medicine Valley. If he did not improve his strength, Night Sorrow could only fight alone. Night Sorrow was very happy that broke through. Was not as strong as Lei Bao when he entered the fourth stage, but he could suppress the peak of core condensation. It was a month and a half later when they returned to the space passage. Night Sorrow, and the others guarded the entrance of the passage. Gu Lin went out of the passage and reported the situation to the sect. After a while, Gu Lin came back. The Great Elder asked Night Sorrow to go out. Night Sorrow returned to the entrance through the space passage. At the entrance of the passage, the Great Elder and Lu Chen sat in the clouds. Disciple greets the Great Elder. Night Sorrow bowed to salute. Gu Lin said that after you go in, you will guard the entrance of the passage and let the others come back smoothly. If there is an opponent you can't resist, then come back immediately. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. The Great Elder said. Remember, safety is the first. As long as you come out, no one will dare to chase after you. Lu Chen reminded Night Sorrow. After chatting with the Great Elder and Lu Chen for a while, Night Sorrow returned to the space passage again. He knew that dozens of people entered the Medicine Valley. Only a few people went out and most of them were still looking for opportunities inside. Days passed and most of the disciples of the Medicine Valley came back. 3 months have passed. It was the same to go back to the passage to look for opportunities. If they went too far and missed the return date, it would be troublesome. No one would take this risk. The disciples of the Medicine Valley who came back knew that Night Sorrow and were guarding here. They were willing to share some of the harvest, but Night Sorrow refused and did not accept. Chapter 291. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow explained the situation to EU. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs.com. Yes, Lei Bao of the Thunder Rumbling sect won't come, but other people might come. The Red Cloud sect will definitely come. I don't know if the Holy Light sect and the Golden Flame sect have received the news. No matter which force knows the news, they need enough time to go back. Should we come up with a strategy? EU looked at Night Sorrow and said. Avoid the edge? I've thought about it, but the disciples of the Medicine Valley are nearby. If we retreat, they will definitely search for us, and the disciples of the Medicine Valley will be killed. Night Sorrow said. Indeed. Gu Lin, go and ask the elders if they have any good ideas. EU said to Gu Lin, asking him to ask for the elders' opinion. Gu Lin got up and left the passage. He went back and told the elders about the situation. EU's cultivation was at the fourth stage, so he couldn't go out. The Great Elder's view was the same as Night Sorrow's. If they retreated, the scattered disciples of the Medicine Valley would be unlucky. The Medicine Valley couldn't abandon any of its disciples. The war finally came. 3 days after Night Sorrow's judgment, more than 40 people from the Red Cloud sect came. There were many disciples of the Red Cloud sect who entered the Void Fiend space, but they were scattered after entering. It was not easy to gather so many people in a limited time. Moreover, 3 of them broke through to the spirit-severing stage, which was an amazing ratio. This was the foundation of a super force that had been passed down for thousands of years. The more disciples there were, the more core condensation stage disciples there were. Hundreds of core condensation stage disciples could break through normally, and the proportion of disciples who broke through by force was high. Who is Night Sorrow? Hand over the resources we got this time and we will retreat. Otherwise, the disciples of the Medicine Valley will be unlucky. A man in brocade clothes walked at the front and said, I am Night Sorrow. I will take whatever moves you have. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and said, We've already given out all the resources, so you can just give up on it. If you want to fight, we'll play with you. Love Gon Little Say Kuyu said coldly. If you don't send the resources in, then I'll kill you until you do. Remember, I'm Qi Xian of the Scarlet Cloud sect. Kill. When Qi Xian heard that Night Sorrow and the others had given out the resources, he immediately lost his mind and gave the order to kill. All of you stick together. If you can't hold on, just leave. Night Sorrow ignored Qi Xian. He executed the soaring dragon steps and circled around him. Brandishing his reincarnation spear, he charged toward the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Night Sorrow wanted to stop killing with killing. If he were to fight with Qi Xian, the other disciples of the Red Cloud sect would surround and attack the disciples of the Medicine Valley. It would be a scene of devastation. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear, which had a strength of over 20,000 Jin, shook off a Scarlet Cloud sect disciple's weapon. With a swing of the reincarnation spear, the disciple was beheaded. The second Scarlet Cloud sect disciple couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. His weapon was broken and his head was chopped into pieces. Night Sorrow's continuous killing shocked Qi Xian and the other two spirit-severing stage Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. They didn't care about attacking Yu and the others and directly chased after Night Sorrow. If they ignored Night Sorrow, Qi Xian and the others could kill Yu and the others. However, if they did that, most of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples would be killed by Night Sorrow. In the end, the loss outweighed the gain. Night Sorrow didn't fight with Qi Xian and the other two fourth-stage Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. He executed the Soaring Dragon Steps and killed the other Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. When Night Sorrow's energy and true Qi were fully unleashed, none of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples could withstand 2 moves. They were all killed in the second move. After a few rounds, 7 or 8 people were killed by Night Sorrow. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples' faces changed. They had never seen such a ferocious core condensation cultivator. Qindong, you block the front. Qi Zhonglia, you go to the side. Qi Xian's eyes were blood red. He chased after Night Sorrow. He hated Night Sorrow's ruthlessness. He didn't show any mercy and killed some of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Night Sorrow didn't want to fight them head-on. He turned around and continued to chase after the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. This time Night Sorrow was chasing after Shang Qiu. He knew that Shang Qiu was the one who caused all this trouble. Shang Qiu already knew of Night Sorrow's tyranny, so he immediately ran. Night Sorrow pulled out the sky-piercing spear and threw it with all his might. It pierced through Shang Qiu's waist and nailed him to a huge rock. After dodging Qindong's slash, Night Sorrow continued to chase after the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. At this time Yu and the others were no longer fighting. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples were in a mess because of Night Sorrow's pursuit. How could they have the energy to fight? They all ran to the side. Night Sorrow knew that the Scarlet Cloud sect had Scarlet Cloud needles. He didn't want to separate from the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. He didn't want to give them a chance to use the needles unless they didn't distinguish between friend and foe. What Night Sorrow didn't know was that the Scarlet Cloud sect's Scarlet Cloud needles were extremely difficult to make. Only the true core disciples or disciples with great potential were qualified to use them. Currently, only Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia were qualified to use them. After Night Sorrow killed 16 or 17 people, the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples ran behind Qi Xian, Qi Zhonglia and Qindong. If they ran away they would be killed by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, Qi Xian, Qi Zhonglia and Qindong were facing each other. Qi Xian reached into his chest. Scarlet Cloud needles? I have one too. Night Sorrow took out the Scarlet Cloud needles he got last time. When Qi Xian touched his chest, Night Sorrow knew what he was going to do. How can you have Scarlet Cloud needles? Qi Xian's expression changed drastically. He looked at Night Sorrow in shock. Don't play dirty with me. Is Scarlet Cloud needles poisonous? Have you heard of bone rot poison? If you dare to use it, I won't hesitate to kill you, Night Sorrow said coldly. Qi Xian, Qindong and Qi Zhonglia looked at each other. Qi Xian took out his hand. Qi Xian held it out with his palm facing up so that Yi Shang could see it clearly. He knew Yi Shang's words were not a threat. If you dare to come, then I dare to kill. Unless I fall, I will kill a pair of Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples for every Medicine Valley disciple you kill. Night Sorrow put the Scarlet Cloud needles on his waist. Kill? When Night Sorrow put away the Scarlet Cloud needles, Qi Xian, Qindong, and Qi Zhonglia waved their weapons and charged at Night Sorrow. This was their chance to surround and kill Night Sorrow. E7 Forever XN Forever /FreeV Read_O novel. Night Sorrow took a deep breath. He stomped his feet and jumped into the air. He threw his spear at Qi Xian. Qi Xian's saber slashed horizontally at the reincarnation spear. He did not want to take it head-on. However, if he dodged, Night Sorrow would rush into the crowd of Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples and kill them like a tiger in a flock of sheep. Currently, other than the 3 of them, no one could stop Night Sorrow's attack. Seeing Qi Xian block with his saber, Night Sorrow increased his vibration force to the maximum. Then he activated his Black Jade Spirit Qi. He wanted to defeat Qi Xian. If Qi Xian blocked him, then he would be surrounded by Qi Xian, Qindong and Qi Zhonglia. The remaining Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples could then kill Yu and the others. Bang! With a muffled sound, Qi Xian's saber was knocked away. At the same time, his body was covered in a layer of frost. His eyes were filled with shock. Night Sorrow took a step forward and swung his spear at Qi Xian's neck. At the same time, his left hand slapped at Qindong's saber that was coming at his left shoulder. Chapter 292. Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second/Small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Knight Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and slashed Qi Xian's throat, who was affected by the mysterious jade spirit Qi. His left hand also slapped Qindong's blade. At the same time, Qi Zhonglia's leg also kicked Knight Sorrow's waist. Crisp and muffled sounds rang out continuously. Qindong's battle blade was blocked by Yi Shang's left hand that was wearing the azure claw glove. Qi Zhonglia's kick that landed on Yi Shang's abdomen seemed to have struck leather. Knight Sorrow was pushed back 5 or 6 steps. He circulated the myriad Dao Tome's energy, and the pain and discomfort from his abdomen disappeared. This was the power of the myriad Dao Tome. Knight Sorrow's flesh, tendons, and ribs were all abnormally strengthened. Qi Zhonglia's hurried kick did not cause any damage to Knight Sorrow. Qi Xian fell. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. He was already in the 4th rank. His future should be very exciting. How could he die here? Qindong and Qi Zhonglia stood next to Qi Xian's corpse. Their eyes were filled with shock. Qi Xian was the strongest among the 3 of them. But now he was killed. What shocked them was that Knight Sorrow, who was kicked, seemed to be fine. Taking a deep breath, Knight Sorrow charged toward Qi Zhonglia. His reincarnation spear was like a dragon piercing toward Qi Zhonglia's chest. Qi Zhonglia's body flashed. He dodged to the side of Knight Sorrow. His blade slashed toward Knight Sorrow's left arm. At this time, Qi Zhonglia did not dare to take Knight Sorrow's attack head-on. Qi Xian was an example. Using the soaring dragon steps, Knight Sorrow dodged Qi Zhonglia's blade. His reincarnation spear was wide open. He waved his hand and smashed toward Qindong. Even Qi Zhonglia retreated. Of course, Qindong did not dare to take Knight Sorrow's attack head-on. He was afraid that the situation with Qi Xian would happen again. That kind of strange cold air that could freeze people was fatal. After forcing Qindong and Qi Zhonglia back, Knight Sorrow charged towards the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples behind them and continued his massacre. When Knight Sorrow rushed in again, the disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect quickly scattered like birds and beasts. They couldn't understand Knight Sorrow's brutality. At this moment, Knight Sorrow, whose white robes were stained with blood, was like a god of death. Whoever stood in his way would die. Qi Zhonglia and Qindong chased from behind as they shouted for the sect members to retreat. There was no victory to speak of in this battle. Knight Sorrow turned around and stabbed his spear towards Qi Zhonglia. At the same time he shouted for Yu and the others to attack. Facing Knight Sorrow's fierce spear, Qi Zhonglia's expression changed. He raised his sword to block. Ding! A crisp sound rang out. Qi Zhonglia's sword was knocked away by Knight Sorrow. After knocking away Qi Zhonglia's sword, Knight Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear towards Qindong, who was attacking from the side. At the same time his left hand slapped towards Qi Zhonglia's chest. Qi Zhonglia roared. His left hand punched towards Knight Sorrow's left hand. He was afraid of Knight Sorrow's spear techniques, but he was not afraid of fist techniques. The moment Qi Zhonglia punched, a faint red energy vortex appeared on Knight Sorrow's left hand. Seeing Qi Zhonglia punch, Knight Sorrow attacked with all his strength. He used Vajra hand. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. Everything below Qi Zhonglia's left arm disappeared. There was a huge gap between him and Lei Bao. Their true energy levels were not on the same level. He also did not have Lei Bao's battle experience. Therefore, when facing Knight Sorrow's Vajra hand, Lei Bao was only slightly injured. Qi Zhonglia had lost an arm. After losing Qi Zhonglia's arm, Knight Sorrow decided to first deal with the threat of Qindong and then kill Qi Zhonglia. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. When he looked at Qindong again, Knight Sorrow was surprised. Qindong had stopped fighting. He turned around and ran. He actually abandoned Qi Zhonglia and ran. He also did not care about the other disciples who were being attacked by Yu and the others. He directly ran towards the forest in the distance. Love Gon Little Say, Network. Knight Sorrow turned around and continued to violently attack with 3 spear attacks. He killed Qi Zhonglia, who had lost an arm. Qi Zhonglia died very sullenly. In the end he wanted to use Scarlet Cloud Needles, but he did not have the chance. Knight Sorrow attacked again and again. His right hand was holding onto his sword to block, so he did not have the chance to use Scarlet Cloud Needles. After killing Qi Zhonglia, Yi Shang glanced at the battle situation. The Medicine Valley disciples led by Yu already had the absolute advantage. The main reason was that the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples had already lost their momentum after being killed by Yi Shang. At this moment Yi Shang felt powerless. After the battle began, Night Sorrow attacked with all his might. He always pursued the highest damage. Although he was not injured, he was very tired. Soon the battle was over. The Scarlet Cloud sect disciples all ran away. A crazy Night Sorrow was unbeatable to them. If Night Sorrow did not fall, then they had no chance of winning. The strongest Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia had been killed. Qin Dong had run away. What could they who had not reached rank 4 do? After the battle was over, EU and the others cleaned up the battlefield. Then they came to Night Sorrow and placed 2 storage rings, a pile of beast-taming crystals, and some storage belts in front of Night Sorrow. Thank you. Yu bowed. He knew that without Night Sorrow, the Scarlet Cloud sect would have slaughtered the Medicine Valley disciples. Night Sorrow raised his head. You can divide them among yourselves. Martial uncle, are you all right? Seeing Night Sorrow's pale face, Gu Lin asked worriedly. I'm fine. I just used up a lot of energy. Night Sorrow waved his hand. Night Sorrow, actually I should call you junior brother. You earned these resources. We just shouted loudly and didn't do anything. You can keep them. EU said. EU's master was an elder of Wuwei Peak. He was from the same generation as Yu Yangyu. Since EU joined the sect earlier than Night Sorrow, he was the senior brother. Senior brother EU, distribute the spoils to everyone. Also, everyone should take the time to rest. This is only the Scarlet Cloud sect. We don't know if there will be other forces coming. If you feel that you can't hold on any longer, leave. The battle might have just begun, Yi Shan said. EU looked at the resources at his feet and picked up a pile of storage belts. Let's divide these. Martial uncle, you must keep the rest. Night Sorrow nodded as he looked at the group of Medicine Valley disciples. Haha. If you follow Martial Uncle Yi, you'll be able to eat and drink well, Gu Lin said with a smile. Martial Uncle Night, I'm sorry. Our Tianyue Peak has caused trouble for you. A Tianyue Peak disciple stepped forward. He was one of the people caught by Lei Bao. Lin Tianjue is Lin Tianjue. This has nothing to do with Tianyue Peak. You are a good disciple of Medicine Valley for staying and fighting. What's your name? Night Sorrow asked. Martial Uncle, my name is Jiang Han. Jiang Han bowed. You know what happened. When you return, explain to Peak Master Jin and senior brother Luo Daoyuan that Lin Tianjue was killed by Lei Bao. Even if Lei Bao didn't kill him, I wouldn't have kept him alive. Night Sorrow said. I understand. Jiang Han nodded and left. Chapter 293. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with interesting novels to read. On the other side, EU asked Gu Lin to report the battle to the Great Elder. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs. So after Gu Lin returned, he informed Night Sorrow, the Great Elder, the Valley Master, and the others to let Night Sorrow go out. Night Sorrow didn't have time to change his clothes, so he didn't care about etiquette. He walked out of the passageway in his blood-stained battle robe. Many people gathered at the passageway. Yu Yangyu and the people from Taishan Peak were all there. Night Sorrow, are you hurt? Sikong Chuyu ran to Night Sorrow and held his hand, looking him up and down nervously. No, it's all other people's blood, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Are you really okay? Yang Lei also walked to Night Sorrow and asked. Ninth senior sister, I'm really okay. Night Sorrow turned his body to show Yang Lei that he wasn't hurt. 13, can you still hold on? If you can't, then retreat. There aren't many disciples from Medicine Valley who haven't returned, the Great Elder said. Not bad. You've done very well. You can choose to come back, Yu Yangyu said. There are still disciples from Medicine Valley who haven't returned. If we retreat, we'll be abandoning them. They'll be disappointed, Night Sorrow said. Yu Yangyu, the Great Elder, and the others nodded. They all knew that Night Sorrow and the others were abandoning some disciples if they retreated. Ninth senior sister, here are some beast-taming crystals. Take them back and distribute them to the disciples of Taishan Peak. Night Sorrow took out a handful of beast-taming crystals. There were at least 20 of them and he gave them to Yang Lei. Okay. Yang Lei was not pretentious. She knew that Night Sorrow did not need this. Chuyu, don't worry. I'm fine. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu, whose eyes were filled with worry. Then go. I'll wait for you here. Sikong Chuyu nodded. Night Sorrow nodded and returned to the spatial tunnel. With a core condensation cultivation base, he killed 2 severed divinity cultivators and more than 20 late core condensation cultivators. This battle record will forever be recorded in the annals of history. Yi Xiling from Crepe Myrtle said. Her eyes were filled with regret because Night Sorrow was not a disciple of Crepe Myrtle. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs.com. The other peak masters who arrived also looked at Gong Xian and Yang Lei with envy. After returning to the void space, Night Sorrow looked at the female disciples of Crepe Myrtle and rode Chanyu to find a water source to wash up. After changing into a clean robe, he went to the entrance of the spatial tunnel. The entrance of the spatial tunnel was very lively. Some people were roasting prey, some people even took out wine. Seeing Night Sorrow come back, everyone greeted him. Night Sorrow nodded and found a place to sit down. Next there will be a month of danger. Red Cloud sect was the first to receive the news. They can gather some disciples. The other sects will receive the news later and come to find trouble with us. Plus, they might not have enough time to go back. If they don't gather enough people, they won't dare to block our path. Yu said. In other words, if we guard this place for another month and there are no problems, then there will be no problems at all? Jiang Han asked. That should be the case. Night Sorrow nodded and took the roasted meat from a female disciple of Crepe Myrtle. After eating and drinking, except for those on duty, everyone sat down to cultivate. Night Sorrow checked Qi Zhonglia and Qi Xian's storage rings and found that their collection was quite rich. There were also some new resources, spiritual herbs and 2 red cloud needles. Qi Xian's storage ring also had a green organ. Night Sorrow could feel that this or was not simple, but there was no such or in the Fey encyclopedia. After tidying up his things, Yi Shang sat down to cultivate. Time passed slowly, and some of the disciples of Medicine Valley also returned. When they found out that Night Sorrow and the others were guarding the path and had a big battle with the Red Cloud sect, they were willing to share some of their loot, but no one took it. 5 days later, the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling sect came. It was a man in black with less than 20 people. Wait. Seeing that the disciples of Medicine Valley were about to fight, the leading man in black waved his hand. What do you want to say? Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward with the reincarnation spear. If we fight as a group, both sides will suffer. It won't be good for either side. You should be Night Sorrow. I heard that you killed Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia from the Red Cloud sect. Let's fight one-on-one. The man in black looked at Night Sorrow and said, Sure. I want to ask, where did you get the news? Night Sorrow asked. The man in black glanced at the disciples of Medicine Valley who were full of fighting spirit and said, Someone from the same sect. You also met the disciples of the Red Cloud sect. It seems like you are prepared. If you want to fight with me, then there should be a bet. Say it. Night Sorrow waved the reincarnation spear and said. He felt that the people of the Thunder Rumbling sect were overbearing, but they were very direct. Lei Bao was like that, and so was this young man in black. I heard that you got a treasure on the Lonely Peak. This is an opportunity. However, the opportunity is in your hands now. If you lose, take out half of the opportunity and I will leave. If I lose, then I have never thought about it. The man in black hesitated and said. If you lose, you can leave. In addition, if you meet the disciples of the Medicine Valley in this space, don't make it difficult for them. Night Sorrow said. Okay. My name is Lei Zheng. I won't take advantage of you. This Tranquil Heart Stone and my Thunderbird mount are yours if you win. Also listen carefully. If I, Lei Zheng, lose in this space, if you see the disciples of the Medicine Valley, you must stay away. The young man in black, who was Lei Zheng, waved the broadsword in his hand and said. Night Sorrow waved his hand and asked the disciples of the Medicine Valley to retreat. Then he gestured to Lei Zheng. Lei Zheng leaped up and waved the broadsword in his right hand, facing Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understood that the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling sect fought in a direct confrontation. Their weapons were also broadswords and heavy swords. Without hesitation, Night Sorrow thrust his reincarnation spear forward. At the same time, he also used the vibration force. Ding. When the weapons collided, Night Sorrow retreated 2 steps while Lei Zheng retreated 4 to 5 steps. Night Sorrow squinted his eyes and looked at Lei Zheng. He realized that Lei Zheng's true qi exerting method was different from Lei Bao's. It was a technique that was soft first and then violent. Very strong. Again. Lei Zheng glanced at Night Sorrow and attacked again. Night Sorrow used the vibration force and waved his reincarnation spear to attack. Every time he attacked, he would force Lei Ming to retreat a few steps, completely suppressing him. The 2 of them attacked each other, one advancing and one retreating. Although Lei Zheng couldn't restrain Night Sorrow's vibration force, Night Sorrow couldn't defeat Lei Zheng with the vibration force. Watch my purple thunder sword art. Lei Jing roared. Purple energy appeared on his broadsword and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Knowing that this was Lei Jing's ultimate move, Night Sorrow instantly activated the profound jade spirit chi hidden in his hands. Bang! When the weapons collided, Night Sorrow retreated 4 steps. His arms were numb as if he was struck by lightning. Lei Jing was in an even worse state. His entire body was covered in frost. Night Sorrow's bone-forging realm level 6 energy burst forth from the myriad Dao Tome. After dispelling the numbness, he used the soaring dragon steps and instantly rushed in front of Lei Jing. Before Lei Jing could react, the reincarnation spear was placed on his neck. I lost, Lei Ming said as he wiped the frost off his hair and face. X forever free. Read * novel *. Just like Lei Bao, you are a real man. You can afford to lose. Night Sorrow said as he retreated a few steps. Chapter 294. Genius remembers love in 1 second / small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Why do you say that? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. I'm not Brother Bao's opponent. Knowing that you defeated Brother Bao, I won't come. The news is really deceiving. Lei Jing was depressed. Ignoring the value of the Tranquil Heart Stone, he couldn't bear to part with his Thunderbird. The Thunderbird was an intelligent flying beast at the peak of the 3rd rank. Most importantly, it had been with him for a long time. You didn't ask me. Yishang was speechless. This disciple of the Thunder Rumbling sect was really straightforward. Lei Jing took out the beast-taming crystal. His eyes were full of reluctance, but he still put it beside the Tranquil Heart Stone and took a few steps back. It's all yours. Night Sorrow stepped forward and put away the Tranquil Heart Stone. After looking at the beast-taming crystal for a while, he threw it to Lei Jing, whose eyes never left the crystal. I told Lei Bao that we will be friends when we meet again. You call him Brother Bao, so it's obviously not nice of me to take you as my mount. After catching the beast-taming crystal, Lei Jing's face was full of joy. We will also be friends in the future. As long as you, Night Sorrow, come to the Thunder Clan, you will be my most distinguished guest. Okay, if you come to the Medicine Valley, don't forget to look for me. I will treat you with good wine and meat. Night Sorrow nodded. Lei Jing cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow and then turned around. Brothers, let's go. We can't beat them and almost suffered a double loss. Let's go take care of others. The Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples followed Lei Jing. Some of them even cupped their hands towards Yishang. Damn, the Thunder Clan disciples are too cute. Lei Jing is so handsome. He's a real man. Crepe Myrtle disciple Li Lin said. This is because we have strength. If we don't have strength, we will be bullied to death. Handsome real man? That depends on Martial Uncle Yi. Gu Lin said. But I heard that Martial Uncle Night Sorrow already has someone in his heart. Even Martial Uncle Lin Jingyi doesn't have a chance. Li Lin glanced at Night Sorrow and said. The dispute between Night Sorrow and Crepe Myrtle was no longer a secret. Everyone in Medicine Valley knew about it. Gu Lin shook his head helplessly. He could not answer this question. In the following days, the entrance of Medicine Valley was quiet. What Night Sorrow did not know was that Lei Jing had helped him fend off a wave of enemies. When Lei Jing and the others were some distance away from the entrance of the Medicine Valley, they met a group of disciples of the Golden Flame sect, led by Su Wang and Su Yuan, who were approaching the entrance of the Medicine Valley. With one look, Lei Jing knew what was going on. Love Gong Little Sake, thinking that Night Sorrow did not want his Thunderbird, Lei Jing decided to do Night Sorrow a favor. He directly defeated Su Wang and the others, severely injuring the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Lei Jing lost to Night Sorrow because his dual polarity force was restrained by Night Sorrow's vibration scripture. However, it was not a problem for him to deal with Su Wang and the others. The disciples of the Thunder Clan were also very united and had strong combat power. After a chaotic battle, Lei Jing severely injured Su Wang and forced him to retreat. He also confiscated the resources of the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Haha, a person should be loyal. Good intentions will be rewarded. After the brothers divide, let's continue to rob. There will be a lot of fat sheep coming to the Medicine Valley. Lei Jing was in a particularly good mood. Brother Jing, speaking of which, we have to thank Lei Jing. If he didn't tell us this news, we wouldn't know what happened here, a disciple of the Thunder Clan said. Bullsh *T. This time I was almost killed by him. He knew that Brother Bao was defeated, but he still made this news. Isn't he trying to scam me? But it's also true. If he said it, Brother Bao would lose face. Let's not talk about it. Let's continue to look for fat sheep. Lei Jing was in high spirits. The income from robbing was much better than looking for resources by himself. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs. After quietly waiting at the entrance of the passage for a month without any battles, Night Sorrow EU and the others discussed and decided that there was no need for them to stay here any longer. They could do whatever they needed to do because the people from the other regions wouldn't come over anymore. That way they wouldn't have enough time to return. Many people had gone to look for resources. Night Sorrow pondered for a while before leaving the void fiendish space. He did not want to waste any more time. He did not believe that there would be any great opportunities. After all, even the space origin pearl was in his Dantian. Even if there were opportunities left, they would be small opportunities. Only a few disciples of the Medicine Valley chose to go out. The others still had to look for opportunities. Sucked knowing that Night Sorrow didn't want to stay in the void fiendish space any longer, the first elder was a bit unwilling. They had survived the danger and there was no more danger, but Night Sorrow still wanted to come out. Great Elder, this depends on the individual's wishes. If 13 is unwilling, then don't force him. He also needs to prepare to advance to the spirit-severing stage. Lu Qinyun said with a smile. He was extremely satisfied with Night Sorrow's performance this time because Night Sorrow had fought to the end for the disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow took out the green ore he had stolen from Qi Xian and gave it to Big Elder Yu Yangyu and the others to identify. The higher-ups present all looked at it, but they couldn't recognize what ore it was. However, they all felt that it wasn't normal. Then Night Sorrow, Yang Lei and Sikong Chiu left. The relationship between the three of them was not a secret in the Medicine Valley. Many people were envious of them. There was no need to talk about Sikong Chiu. She was agile and refined like a fairy. It was fate that brought Sikong Chiu and Yi Shang together. No one could be envious of them. But what about Yang Lei? She was the one that many second-generation disciples of the Medicine Valley had been thinking about. Unexpectedly, Night Sorrow also got her. This was puzzling. Great Elder, what do you think of Lin Tianjue? After Night Sorrow left, Yu Yangyu looked at Big Elder. This is the fault of Tianyue Peak's Elder Lin and Luo Daoyuan. But he is already dead, so forget it. Big Elder sighed with some disappointment. This time, Lin Tianjue really made the Medicine Valley lose face and almost brought a disaster to the disciples of the Medicine Valley in the alternate dimension. If it wasn't for Night Sorrow's efforts to turn the tide, the Medicine Valley would have suffered heavy losses. It could even be said that there would be a generation gap. If all the outstanding disciples of the core condensation realm were killed, then the Medicine Valley would have lost a generation in the future. I won't pursue this matter. Tell Tianyue Peak's Elder Lin, Luo Daoyuan, and the others that if anyone dares to vent their anger on Night Sorrow because of Lin Tianjue, I won't be lenient. Yu Yangyu said and left. Gong Xian looked at Big Elder and Fourth Elder, then left with the people of Taishan Peak. The Valley Master's temper has become more restrained. This is the blessing of Tianyue Peak. Big Elder, you should arrange it well. If Elder Lin, Peak Master Jin or Luo Daoyuan do anything bad, then it will be a big trouble for the Medicine Valley. At that time, even if the Valley Master doesn't say anything, the Taishan Peak won't let it go. Lu Qinyun said. Then, Fourth Elder and the other elders will look after this place. I will go to Tianyue Peak. Big Elder said to the others, then got up and left. This matter was very big. Yu Yangyu showed mercy. As the Big Elder, he had to deal with it well. Otherwise, this matter would be the fuse for the outbreak of conflicts. When Big Elder arrived at Tianyue Peak, he saw Jin Kan and two other elders of Tianyue Peak in the Tianyue Hall. Seeing the arrival of Big Elder, Jin Kan and the others all got up and saluted, then let Big Elder sit in the main seat. As the Big Elder, I have something to deal with. Invite Elder Lin and Luo Daoyuan here. Big Elder sat down and said while tapping his crutch on the ground. Chapter 295. Genius 1 second remember love go/small? Show.net provides you with wonderful novels to read. G#C, the only version #his, xhim. All, pirated, what do you mean? Don't you know your mistake? The Great Elder tapped the ground with his walking stick. Suddenly, a spider web appeared on the hard stone floor of the Tianyue Hall. It was obvious that the Great Elder was angry. Great Elder, please don't misunderstand. Elder Lin felt guilty towards the sect and went to the Cliff of Reflection to reflect. Luo Daoyuan also wanted to go there, but I didn't agree because there were still many things to deal with in the Tianyue Peak. Jean Can quickly explained. Let's not talk about Elder Lin. It's good that Luo Daoyuan has such thoughts. It shows that he knows his mistake, so I won't pursue it. If the Tianyue Peak makes things difficult for Night Sorrow because of Lin Tianjue, you know the consequences. At that time, no one will be able to stop the Valley Master's anger. The Great Elder said. Great Elder, don't worry. Everyone knows that Lin Tianjue deserved to die. No one blamed Night Sorrow. In fact, we are grateful that he saved the other Tianyue Peak disciples. Jean Can bowed. It's good that you know. I'm just reminding you. The Great Elder stood up and left the Tianyue Hall. He felt a little better after seeing the Tianyue Peak's attitude. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu returned to the Bamboo Forest Peak. Sikong Chuyu brewed a pot of tea after returning to the Bamboo Forest Peak. You must be tired out during this period of time. No, I just fought a few battles. However, I also gained a lot. Some problems can also be solved. Night Sorrow said. He was talking about the origin stone. Night Sorrow then took out his gains and organized them. Seeing Night Sorrow take out several storage rings, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were shocked. They knew that this was the result of Night Sorrow's robbery. Ninth senior sister, who else doesn't have a storage ring? Night Sorrow asked. Eldest senior brother, second senior brother, and third senior brother have it. Sixth senior sister and I also have it. The others don't have it, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow took out the two he had stolen from Lone Peak, the two he had taken from Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia, and Su Chenbai's storage ring. Of course he took out all his resources. Here are 5 storage rings. I'll send them to the other senior brothers later, Night Sorrow said. You rascal, keep one for yourself. Otherwise you won't have enough in case of an emergency, Yang Lei said. I still have more. Night Sorrow smiled. He had Feng Chen's storage ring and Lu Shan's. Both of their storage rings had a lot of space, much more than the storage rings they had robbed. Night Sorrow organized the spirit herbs, spirit medicines and ores. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were dazzled. There were too many level 4 and level 5 spirit herbs. There were even level 6 spirit herbs. There were also many rare ores. 13, you're rich this time. Yang Lei was so excited that her face turned red. Ninth senior sister, these aren't my biggest gains. The 3 of us are going to be a family in the future. Let me show you the real gains. Night Sorrow took out the top-grade spirit stones and high-grade spirit stones. The bamboo building's living room was filled with the light of crystals. There were hundreds of top-grade spirit stones and thousands of high-grade spirit stones. How is this possible? Yang Lei was a little confused. Even the super forces might not have so many in stock. Night Sorrow, you have too much capital. Sikong Chuyu was also astonished when he saw the crystals. You too, quickly keep some of them. Both of you have advanced to the 5th grade. You can use high-grade spirit stones to cultivate. Night Sorrow urged Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Alright. Will be yours sooner or later. Just take it as a betrothal gift. Yang Lei blushed and took 100 high-grade spirit stones. Sikong Chuyu also felt a little embarrassed after hearing Yang Lei's words. However, he also took 100 high-grade spirit stones. She had advanced to the 5th grade a month ago and was currently the youngest Void Inquiry stage cultivator in this area. Night Sorrow kept the remaining spirit stones into his storage ring. Come, let's admire some good stuff. I'll share some with you. Night Sorrow took out the spiritual spring liquid and opened the jar. This is much denser than the spiritual liquid in the medicinal cauldron. He actually used a wine jar to store it? Yang Lei was a little speechless. Night Sorrow's actions had subverted her beliefs. Store some for each of you. Tomorrow give some to senior brothers and sisters too. Night Sorrow said. You have to keep enough for yourself. Just give some to each of you. Yang Lei was thinking for Night Sorrow's sake. She also helped Night Sorrow to store more than 10 small bottles of origin spiritual liquid. After that, Night Sorrow gave Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu 2 bottles each. Ninth senior sister, Chuyu, if you need any spirit stones or spiritual liquid in the future, just call me. Night Sorrow filled a few small bottles of origin spiritual liquid as backup. Only then did he keep the remaining half of the jar. He still had another full jar. We won't stand on ceremony with you. When we have time we'll get a jade jar to store it. Yang Lei said. I have something else to ask you. Do you know what attributes there are in heaven and earth? Night Sorrow asked. Earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light and darkness. These are the 7 most common attributes. The rare and high-grade attributes are life, death, space and time. The top-grade attributes are destruction, void and so on. Of course, there is a possibility for the attributes to evolve. The Earth attribute can evolve into gravity and space. If it continues to evolve, it will become the space attribute. The water attribute can evolve into the life attribute, while the darkness attribute can evolve into the death attribute. These are all recorded in the ancient books. Sikong Chiyu said. I obtained an origin stone this time. Ninth senior sister doesn't have one that matches your attribute. Chuyu has one that matches your attribute, but I can't give it to you for the time being. I promised someone that I would lend it to them for a period of time. Night Sorrow said. What did you say? You obtained an origin stone? Sikong Chiyu wasn't the only one who stood up. Yang Lei was also excited. Sit down. Sit down. Night Sorrow pushed Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu into chairs. Then he took out the fire and water attribute origin stones. When he opened the jade box, a rich energy fluctuation was produced. Sikong Chiyu reached out and closed the box. Night Sorrow, this is a great opportunity, but it's also a disaster. If this were to spread, it would cause a chaotic war in the 9 regions. This is because source stones are the best medium for venerables to break through to the Saint Realm. I know. I will only tell the 2 of you. Night Sorrow said. Who do you want to lend the origin stone to? Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. First of all, it is a senior from the Ice Snow Mountain in the Far East Icefield. I promised her. She said that she would only lend it to me. In addition, she is willing to give me a spirit weapon as the price. I don't care about the spirit weapon, but since I promised her, I will do my best. Night Sorrow said. A peerless expert from a forbidden land. It seems that the rumors are not true. Such a person wouldn't kill for the treasure. Sikong Chiyu nodded. Chapter 296. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That shouldn't be a problem either. Sikong Chiyu said to Yishan. Let's go, said Sikong Chiyu to Yishan. Let's not talk about the fire-type origin stone for now. There is another piece. Take a look at its attribute. Night Sorrow put away the fire-type origin stone. He then brought out the killing energy origin bead. When the box was opened, a dense baleful aura and blood-red energy appeared in the bamboo building. After Sikong Chiyu and Yang Lei felt it, Sikong Chiyu reached out and closed the box. This is beyond the concept of origin stones. Could it be spatial origin? Sikong Chiyu was a little surprised as he looked at Night Sorrow in disbelief. Most are new chapter E above. That's right. It's one of the space origins, but I don't know what attribute it is, Night Sorrow said. There is a trace of destructive aura mixed with a very strong baleful aura. Could it be that you have entered a space of destruction? Sikong Chiyu said with some uncertainty. She had read a lot of classics and was better than Yang Lei in this aspect. It's not the destruction space. In fact, this isn't the real space origin. It's just a subsidiary. The real space origin is with me. Night Sorrow smiled bitterly and pointed at his stomach. What do you mean? Yang Lei asked. Night Sorrow then told him what happened after he went to Lonely Peak. You're taking too much risk. Fortunately, such supreme treasures have their own spirituality. If you are not the chosen one, you will not be able to obtain the space origin. A single energy attack from the space origin can destroy you, the Sikong Chiyu said. Chiyu, do you mean that the void space origin bead will not harm 13? Yang Lei asked worriedly. If you want to hurt him, you should have blown up Night Sorrow back then. Entering his body is also a form of recognition, Sikong Chiyu said. Then it's fine. However, I don't feel that its existence is of any help to me, Night Sorrow said. You currently don't have the ability to recognize a master. If you can, then you will be the master of that space, the master of that space. On the day you truly control the space origin bead, the entire space will be your private territory. Sikong Chiyu threw out words that shocked Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu. Is it that serious? Yang Lei couldn't believe her ears. Of course. So, don't mention this matter in the future. Just pretend that it never happened. Night Sorrow, the treasures on you now are enough for the experts of the 9 zones to kill you hundreds of times. Sikong Chiyu said. Then it's settled. 13. Don't tell anyone about the origin bead and origin stone. Don't even tell Master and the Great Elder. After all, they are still far away from the Sage Realm. Yang Lei made the decision for Night Sorrow. All right. I'll listen to everything you say. Night Sorrow nodded. After packing up, the 3 of them slowly drank tea. 13. You scared me to death. I can't even calm down now, Yang Lei said as she patted her chest. Indeed, Night Sorrow, the things you got this time are truly frightening. My heart is also thumping. Love go little say, Chusikong Chuyu said. It's a water origin stone. I'll give it to Chuyu after I finish using it. Ninth senior sister, I'm sorry about this, Night Sorrow said apologetically. What are you saying, you bastard? Aren't we family? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow grumpily. After eating, the three of them rested. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu didn't let Night Sorrow continue cultivating. They watched Night Sorrow sleep. The next day, Mo Chin and Chu Lingfei came to call Night Sorrow because the senior brothers and sisters were going to have a gathering. Night Sorrow, Chu Lingfei followed Mo Chin to the Bamboo Grove. Always Bamboo Grove was the gathering place for Yu Yangyu's disciples on Taishan Peak. This time, everyone was present. Alway also took out the green carrot leopard bone wine. After drinking the wine, Night Sorrow took out the gifts he had prepared for his senior brothers and sisters. Each of them received a bottle of spiritual liquid of origin and 10 top-grade spirit stones. 13, you're rich. Mo Chin said as he opened the bottle of spiritual liquid of origin. I forgot about Sister Lingfei's share. 10 top-grade spirit stones. Second senior brother, 8th senior brother, and sister-in-law all have a share. Night Sorrow pushed the 10 top-grade spirit stones in front of Chu Lingfei. Then he took out 20 top-grade spirit stones and handed them to Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin. Other than the newly married Mo Chin, only Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin were married among Yu Yangyu's disciples. However, their wives didn't attend the gathering. After Mo Chin got married, he and Chu Lingfei lived together, so he came to the gathering. Ninth junior sister, you have to keep an eye on 13. How many resources do you have to squander like this? Gong Xian looked at Yang Lei and said. This was decided by the three of us. Yang Lei said with a smile. As for the other things, Night Sorrow didn't tell everyone. Yang Lei also didn't let Night Sorrow talk about the elixirs. Although Aoi was studying alchemy, it wasn't appropriate to give it to Aoi. After the gathering, Night Sorrow said goodbye to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and went to Danding Cliff to cultivate. He was now at the middle stage of the 9th level of the core condensation realm. He wanted to raise his cultivation to the peak of the core condensation realm and then stabilize his cultivation to prepare for entering the spirit severing realm. The higher the cultivation level, the more energy was needed to raise the cultivation level. This was also the reason why it was difficult for high-level cultivators to raise their cultivation level. Night Sorrow rushed to 5,800 meters before he felt that the pressure was suitable for him. He could still continue, but he didn't think it was necessary. This place was very suitable for cultivating. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow's cultivation level rapidly increased. He didn't know that the Eastern Profound Domain now knew the name Night Sorrow. As the people who entered the void fiendish space left, Night Sorrow's deeds and achievements spread. The Scarlet Cloud sect was the most infuriated because too many of their disciples had died at Yishang's hands. Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia were direct disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect. They had great potential and were worth cultivating. However, they were killed by Night Sorrow. In addition, Night Sorrow also killed more than 20 disciples at the peak of the core condensation realm. They were all good seedlings of this generation of the Scarlet Cloud sect. Night Sorrow's deeds were not only spread to the Scarlet Cloud sect, but also to the Holy Light Temple and the Southern Dipper sect. Although they didn't have any contact with Night Sorrow, they had fought with the people of the Scarlet Cloud sect and the Thunder Rumbling sect. Some of them even became friends. Naturally, they knew this news. The 7 superpowers of the Eastern Profound Domain also knew that the Medicine Valley of the Golden Flame sect was the biggest winner in the opening of the alternate space. A young man named Night Sorrow was the biggest winner. At the same time, they also knew about Night Sorrow's greatness. He fought against 3 severed divinity stage and dozens of core condensation realm cultivators alone. He killed 2 severed divinity stage cultivators and more than 20 peak core condensation realm cultivators. No one could surpass this record. On the top floor of the Chenji Tower in the Eastern Profound City, several people sat together and chatted. Supervisor Lon, Night Sorrow is not bad, right? He challenged dozens of people alone, killed 2 severed divinity stage cultivators, killed 1, and more than 20 core condensation realm cultivators. Isn't he worthy of the 2 stars? Lei Hua said with a smile. Chapter 297. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What if he enters the divinity severing stage? Should we report it to the higher-ups directly? Inshui asked. If he can enter the divinity severing stage in 2 years, report it to the higher-ups. Such a talent can no longer be measured by ordinary standards. Focus on protecting him. This is an opportunity for your Eastern Profound Domain branch to gain face, Lan Yuxuan said. Okay, this guy should have no problem entering the divinity severing stage in 2 years, Lei Hua said. He had confidence in Night Sorrow. In addition, I'm going to the Medicine Valley, Lan Yuxuan said. Then I'll accompany you there, Yin Shui said. Okay, if there are some things that have good results, I need your cooperation. Lan Yuxuan nodded. Night Sorrow stayed at Danding Cliff and cultivated for more than 20 days. He raised his cultivation to the peak of the core formation stage before leaving Danding Cliff and returning to the bamboo forest peak. Yishang's cultivation was already saturated. What he needed now was to stabilize his cultivation and increase the cultivation of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome. Currently, he still had a lot of dragon bone forging pills, enough for him to reach the 4th stage of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome, the Consolidation Realm. Night Sorrow's days were very free and easy. His relationship with Yang Lei and Sikong Chiu was also warming up. Love Go Little Seiko Forever. Long time % free to read 6Y novels. Disciples of the Medicine Valley often came to drink with Night Sorrow. In the past it was only the Yuan roll. Now both the Yuan roll and the elixir roll came. Night Sorrow didn't look down on anyone just because his cultivation was high. He thought that people who hit it off were friends. Night Sorrow took time to visit Qinzhen. He left Tiger Eagle in Qinzhen and left his remaining medicinal cauldron spiritual liquid to Qinzhen. Qinzhen also worked hard. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th level of the gathering element and he had entered the top 20 of the Yuan roll. Nothing much happened. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei and Sikong Chiu returned to Danding City. He did not go to Tianji Tower. If Tianji Tower hadn't asked, Night Sorrow wouldn't have lent the water origin stone to Tianji Tower. However, things were different from what he thought. On the 3rd day after Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring Courtyard, Enforcer Dong came to the Dragon Spring Courtyard and said that someone wanted to see him. Night Sorrow immediately knew what was going on. It was either Lan Yuxuan or Yin Shui. Night Sorrow couldn't refuse such a meeting, so he directly followed Enforcer Dong to Tianji Tower. In the room on the top floor of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Lan Yuxuan wearing a silver mask and Yin Shui taking off her mask. Sit down. Let's have a chat, Lan Yuxuan said. Yishang nodded and sat down opposite the two of them. At the peak of the core condensation stage, your body's qi and blood are at the peak. If you can continue to improve, it won't take long for you to reach the level of essence qi smoke. In the 9 regions, there are people who cultivate their body, but their true qi attainment is not high. Only those who are over 100 years old can reach the level of essence qi smoke, and it's very rare. Yin Shui said. Thank you for your praise, Chief Enforcer. This is also the reason why Tianji Tower is cultivating me, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow casually chatted with Yin Shui, not talking about the alternate dimension. After half a quarter of an hour, Yin Shui looked at Lan Yuxuan helplessly. Because they didn't mention it, Night Sorrow didn't want to talk about it. Lan Yuxuan coughed twice. You have a good harvest in the alternate dimension, right? It's not bad. It's not easy to snatch food from the tiger's mouth and fight with the Thunder Rumbling sect and Red Cloud sect. Night Sorrow said with a smile. What about the Heaven's Mandate Stone? Lan Yuxuan asked. She could see that Night Sorrow was very calm. If she didn't mention it, Night Sorrow wouldn't mention it. Well, since the supervisor mentioned it, then let's talk about it. Night Sorrow didn't avoid the question since Lan Yuxuan mentioned it. Seems that you really got it. Tianji Tower is willing to exchange it for anything you want. Lan Yuxuan was extremely shocked. She just wanted to give it a try. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to really have it. The Heaven's Mandate Stone is priceless, I won't exchange it. Night Sorrow directly refused Lan Yuxuan's statement. Night Sorrow wanted to lend the Water Attribute Stone to Wu Lingfei. In the end, the Water Attribute Stone would belong to Sikong Chiu. You're right. The Heaven's Mandate Stone is priceless. If you borrow it for half a year, you'll get a spirit tool. Lan Yuxuan said. I'll tell you what I want first. If you can accept it, then we can talk. I've promised someone to borrow the Water Attribute Stone first. She can borrow it without any harm. After that, we can carry out the transaction. Night Sorrow said. No, absolutely not. Do you know the value of the Heaven's Mandate Stone? It's priceless. Even if Tianji Tower doesn't lend it to you, you can't lend it to others. It's a disaster. Lan Yuxuan slammed the table and said. But I've promised her. I can't go back on my words. Night Sorrow said. At the same time he knew that Lan Yuxuan was doing it for his own good. He also showed the generosity of Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow, tell us what's going on first. Our Tianji Tower will only protect the core members. We don't have any malicious intentions. Yin Shui knew that the problem was serious. Only by understanding the whole story and the root of the problem could they solve it. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything and told her about the eastern snow mountain in the far east ice field. First of all, I've promised her. Also, I'm from the eastern Shen domain. I have to think for the eastern Shen domain. After all, she's one of the top fighters in the eastern Shen domain. I see. I understand. I won't object. Lan Yuxuan said. Thank you for your help. After this matter is resolved, you can take the water attribute stone for half a year. As for the reward, although I want it, I'm also a member of Tianji Tower. I should do something for the Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow said. He felt that he owed Tianji Tower, so he didn't want to ask for anything. You can keep the water attribute stone. Tianji Tower doesn't need it urgently. How about this? Tianji Tower will owe you a request no higher than a spirit grade stone. When you need the Destiny Stone, Tianji Tower will lend it to you for half a year. Lan Yuxuan made her decision. I'll keep it. Aren't you afraid that I'll be killed and the Destiny Stone stolen? Night Sorrow couldn't understand Tianji Tower's way of doing things. I'm not worried. Tianji Tower won't do anything to its own people. However, if someone kills you, we'll avenge you. Once we kill them, we'll get the Destiny Stone back. There's no need to pay any price. Lan Yuxuan's voice carried a hint of laughter. Lan Yuxuan's words stunned Night Sorrow. This idea? This method? Simple and crude. But don't worry. You're a seedling that Tianji Tower has focused on nurturing. They won't let anyone touch you easily. Lan Yuxuan seemed to have guessed Night Sorrow's thoughts. I'd better hurry up and enter rank 4. Then I'll find a place where there's no one and become a patrol. Night Sorrow said with some hesitation. That's fine. However, you don't have to worry about Tianji Tower's rule of having a patrol every 5 years. You can follow your own path. Your treatment won't change. Your status will exceed that of a patrol, Lan Yuxuan said. Chapter 298. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by shao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's right. If you perform well, Tianji Tower will take special care of you. You don't have to serve as a mandatory patrol every 5 years, but you have the right to do so. Love divided by go divided by shao. Say www.itux.com, Lan Yuxuan said. Then Night Sorrow is here. Thank you for your care. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui. I want to thank you. You have made our Eastern Shen region's Celestial Peak Imperial Tower proud in front of the headquarters, Yin Shui said with a smile. You're too polite, Lord Protector. Night Sorrow bowed again. If you need anything, just tell us. Tianji Tower won't be stingy if we can help you. Love Gong Shao Se, Lan Yuxuan said. Thank you again, lords, but I don't need it. Night Sorrow shook his head. He really didn't need anything. He had resources, but spiritual weapons weren't something that could be given out just because he needed them. Besides, he firmly believed that a man without desires would be strong. After chatting with Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui for a while, Night Sorrow left. The discussion was quite pleasant. After watching Night Sorrow leave, Lan Yuxuan returned to her seat. This kind of person is the most difficult to control and also the most terrifying. A man without desires would be strong. But fortunately, he has a grateful heart and has his own persistence. I especially appreciate what he said. As a person of Eastern Shen region, he should do his best for Eastern Shen region. I believe that in the future he will also say that he is a person of Tianji Tower and will do his best for Tianji Tower, Yin Shui said. Yes, in the face of the pressure from the two of us, he can still persevere. It's very rare. Amazing. Lan Yuxuan said with some emotion. That's it. The supervisor is relieved, Yin Shui said. Chief Protector Silver Snow, I will return to the headquarters directly. Night Sorrow will definitely pass the 3-star assessment. In the future he will be treated as a 3-star. We can't let other forces carry out the dragon slaying plan. The Source Stone is important to Tianji Tower, but he is even more important. Our Tianji Tower is based on people, Lan Yuxuan said. I understand. Yin Shui nodded. Soon after, Lan Yuxuan left. She had come to the Eastern Shen region to examine Night Sorrow's qualifications and also to deal with the matter of the Water Origin Stone. Now she had to return. Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring courtyard. How was it? Sikong Chiyu asked when he saw Night Sorrow return. There were no problems. It went very smoothly. They didn't force me to do anything, Night Sorrow said. He admired Tianji Tower's style. That's good. Sikong Chiyu nodded. After hearing Night Sorrow's answer, she and Yang Lei were relieved. I plan to go to the Far East Icefield to fulfill my promise. Night Sorrow said his decision. Let me accompany you to the Far East Icefield. Yang Lei said. No need. It will take a longer time this time. After all, I'm borrowing it. I have to wait for it to be used back. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. It will take a long time, a long time. You can't go for the time being. Sikong Chiyu pondered for a moment and said. Why? Night Sorrow asked puzzledly. Because in the Tianji Tower's celestial assessment, you have to prove your ability in the shortest time possible and enter the severed spirit stage as soon as possible. That way your celestial assessment level will increase. You will be in the Far East Icefield for at least half a year. Even if you break through to the severed spirit stage as soon as you enter, your qualifications will be delayed and reduced. Sikong Chiyu said. In addition, your strength has increased. It will be safer in the Far East Icefield. Yang Lei agreed with Sikong Chiyu's proposal. I'll listen to you. I'll go to Danding Cliff to consolidate my cultivation. If there's a suitable opportunity, I'll break through. Night Sorrow said. Okay, but you have to be confident before you break through. Don't be like your 11th senior brother who pursues the peak of the core condensation stage. In fact, when he entered the core condensation stage, a flaw appeared in his core pearl, so it took him a long time to consolidate it. Yang Lei said. I know. Then I'll go to Danding Cliff in the afternoon. Night Sorrow said. After staying with Sikong Chiyu and Yang Lei for a while, Night Sorrow rode the Tianyu and left. After arriving at Danding Peak and greeting Elder Su, Night Sorrow began to climb the cliff under Elder Su's surprised gaze. Soon, Night Sorrow climbed to a height of 5,800 meters. After recovering, Night Sorrow rushed to 5,900 meters. After entering the peak of the core condensation stage and the 6th level of the Myriad Tao Tome, Night Sorrow's strength increased greatly. At 5,900 meters, Night Sorrow's energy had just been depleted. Staying at an altitude of 5,900 meters, Night Sorrow began to recover his cultivation. New fastest up $2.3 at this time, other people came to Danding Cliff to cultivate. When they saw Night Sorrow cultivating at 5,900 meters, they were shocked. Night Sorrow had already surpassed the record by 500 meters. This was simply unimaginable. Night Sorrow stayed on the 5,900-meter platform and did not move. After continuously consolidating his cultivation for half a month, Night Sorrow felt that it was really difficult to improve. Looking at the 6,000-meter platform, he got up and continued to climb. This time, Night Sorrow was under a lot of pressure because the last 100 meters of every stage was the most stressful. When there were only 20 meters left, Night Sorrow's true energy and the Myriad Tao Scripture's energy were depleted. He relied on his own body to continue climbing. When there were only 10 meters left, he used the profound jade spiritual energy to rush to the 6,000-meter tall platform. Recovering his cultivation on the 6,000-meter platform, Night Sorrow planned to cultivate here and break through here. Night Sorrow felt that breaking through would be very difficult, but he already had the strength to break through. There was no point in stubbornly holding on. After cultivating for half a day, the sky darkened. Night Sorrow stood up and looked at Danding Cliff. He drank a jar of wine and made a decision. Night Sorrow remembered Yu Yangyu's words. Walk your own path and don't care about what others say. Because everyone's path is different. If you feel that it's suitable, then break through. If others stay at this stage, what does it have to do with you? Core condensation stage. To enter the spirit severing stage, one had to compress all the qi in the dantian into the dan bead and strengthen the dan bead a second time. If not, then it would be a failure and cause the dan bead to crack. After Night Sorrow stabilized his qi, he began to compress his qi into the dan bead. At this time, it depended on the sturdiness of the foundation and the density of the qi. If the foundation was weak and the cultivation was forcefully increased by eating pills, then the control of the qi in the dantian would be poor. It would be difficult to compress the qi into the dan bead. Similarly, if the density of the qi was not enough and was very weak, then the space in the dan bead would not be able to contain the weak qi. If one could not compress all the qi, then it would still end in failure. Chapter 299. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Following the compression, the true qi in Night Sorrow's dantian became less and less, and the dantian became more and more crystal clear. Night Sorrow did not dare to go too far for fear of damaging the pill. After a true qi cultivator enters the core condensation stage, the core is the foundation. Once there is a problem with the core, it will lead to the destruction of the foundation. At the crucial moment, Night Sorrow was very steady. He carefully compressed the true qi in his dantian into the dan bead. The true qi that entered the dan bead directly solidified and became a part of the dan bead. This was also a slow process. One night passed and Night Sorrow was still trying to break through. This was his miscalculation. He had thought that he would be able to break through in a few hours, but in reality, it was still too slow. As the sun rose, more people arrived at Danding Peak. There were also some who reached the 6,000-meter platform. Those who were able to reach the 6 kilometers platform were all late fourth-order cultivators. The ones who came were Crepe Myrtle's Tang Chanxian and 9 Peaks Chu Ling Xiao. They also wanted to cultivate. When they saw Night Sorrow sitting cross-legged on the platform, they looked at each other and knew what was going on. The two of them stood on the 6,000-meter platform to guard Night Sorrow. Time slipped away little by little. In the afternoon, Night Sorrow compressed the last trace of true qi in his dantian into his dan bead. With the disappearance of the last trace of true qi, Night Sorrow's aura changed from core condensation to severed soul stage. Love Gone Little Say exhaling a mouthful of turbid air, Night Sorrow opened his eyes. Seeing Tang Chanxian and Chu Ling Xiao, Night Sorrow froze for a moment before understanding what was going on. He quickly stood up and said, "Many thanks Senior Brother Chu and Senior Sister Tang for helping Night Sorrow." "You're welcome. You're too rash." Tang Chanxian reprimanded Night Sorrow. "Night Sorrow is in a good mood right now, so don't be discouraged. Focus on stabilizing your cultivation." Chu Ling Xiao nodded to Night Sorrow and continued climbing. Tang Chanxian smiled at Night Sorrow and continued. 6 kilometers was not her limit. Night Sorrow's cultivation had just advanced and was not suitable for high-intensity cultivation. He did not continue to climb up. Instead, he returned to the 5,900-meter position to stabilize his cultivation. After staying at 5,900 meters for 2 days, he felt that his cultivation had stabilized. Night Sorrow released Tianyu, then flashed to Tianyu's back and landed on the ground. "You rascal, this is a heaven-defying rhythm. I have nothing else to say to you. You're always on tenterhooks." Elder Su's eyes were filled with joy and helplessness. He had always emphasized that Night Sorrow should strive for stability, but Night Sorrow's cultivation was soaring. "Thank you for your concern, Elder. I might not be coming back for a while." Night Sorrow bowed to Elder Su and climbed onto Tianyu's back, heading straight for Danding Peak. After his last breakthrough, Night Sorrow did not visit Yu Yangyu. This time he was going to visit him before heading to the Far East Icefield. Night Sorrow did not intend to tell Yu Yangyu about going to the Far East Icefield. He did not want Yu Yangyu to worry. In the Danding Hall, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu, the Great Elder, and a few other elders. The matter of the alternate dimension was now a hot topic. Everyone knew that the Medicine Valley had benefited greatly. The Scarlet Cloud sect had even issued a kill order for Night Sorrow. Therefore, the higher-ups of the Medicine Valley were discussing this issue. Seeing Yi Shang enter and then looking at his cultivation, everyone was shocked. The Grand Elder even stood up. "Disciple greets Master and Elders." Night Sorrow bowed and said, * forever free or read T novel K, Spirit Severing Stage. "What's wrong with you?" Qian Wu's eyes were full of surprise. Love Gone Little Say network. Following that, the other elders also began to discuss. Some praised Yi Shang while others reprimanded him. Those who reprimanded him were those who felt that Yi Shang was too reckless. 13. Why did you come to see Master? Yu Yangyu didn't care about the other elders' discussion. He looked at Night Sorrow and asked. His eyes were full of praise because he could see that Night Sorrow's cultivation was very smooth. There was no problem with his foundation being unstable. Disciple has broken through. I came to report to Master. In addition, Disciple wants to go out and have a look. Night Sorrow said. No, you can't go out now. Before Yu Yangyu could speak, Qian Wu stared and said. Tell me your reason. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I just want to go out and have a look, increase my field of vision and practice my combat ability. Night Sorrow said. Okay, safety first. Don't cause trouble and don't be afraid of trouble. Yu Yangyu nodded. Yu Yangyu nodded, and the other elders didn't say anything. Master, this is Disciple's filial piety. Master, please take care of yourself. Night Sorrow stepped forward and handed a bottle of spiritual liquid of origin to Yu Yangyu with both hands. Then he cupped his hands at the other elders and left the alchemy cauldron hall. Seeing Night Sorrow leave with Tianyu, Qianwu was a little anxious. Valley Master, how can you let him go out? The Scarlet Cloud sect has already issued a kill order. It's fine. I won't hide it from you elders. 13 has a certain status in Tianji Tower. A kill order? It won't be long before the Scarlet Cloud sect takes it back. As for a same-level battle, it's a training for him. Yu Yangyu said. Qian Wu and the others didn't say anything because Yu Yangyu's words made sense. Yu Yangyu didn't look at what was in the jade bottle and directly explain the current situation. The Medicine Valley needed stability, but no one could be arrogant in the Medicine Valley. As long as someone came, they would be killed. When Night Sorrow returned to Alchemy City, he went directly to Tianji Tower to show off his cultivation. This was a helpless choice, but the reality required him to do so. Seeing that Night Sorrow had entered the Severed Soul stage, Enforcer Dong was very surprised. He didn't expect Night Sorrow to cultivate so quickly. The first time he saw Night Sorrow was 1.5 years ago. At that time, Night Sorrow was a little guy at stage 1 Qi refinement. But now, Yi Shiwen was already at the Severed Soul stage, the same cultivation level as him. This was unacceptable. After Night Sorrow left, Enforcer Dong hurriedly wrote a letter. He had to inform the headquarters of such an important matter as soon as possible. He knew that this news would attract the attention of the headquarters. When Night Sorrow returned to the Longquan courtyard, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were very happy and personally prepared food for Night Sorrow. This was a big event worth celebrating. In addition, they also knew that Night Sorrow might set off later. After stabilizing his cultivation level in the Longquan courtyard for 2 days, Night Sorrow set off. He had to go to the eastern ice field. In addition, he was also working hard on the cultivation resources for the consolidation realm of the Myriad Dao Tome. A person without foresight was bound to have immediate worries. Although he hadn't yet entered the 7th level of bone forging, he still needed to prepare early. While Night Sorrow and the others were celebrating, an uninvited guest came to the headquarters of the Red Cloud sect, Seaheart Island. The uninvited guest went directly to the lonely mountain behind the island. Not long after the masked man in black arrived, 2 white-haired old men appeared. Who are you? Chapter 300. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. You came to our Scarlet Cloud sect just to say this? Then you've come to the wrong place. One of the elders stepped forward and said, whether I've come to the wrong place or not is not up to you two to decide. The black-clothed man's aura changed as he threw a punch at a stone mountain in the distance. F plus forever square root exempt from MFN. Look at little square root speak with a punch. The stone mountain shattered and debris flew everywhere. Do you think you can be so arrogant just because you're in the venerable realm? If I hear any more killing orders, I'll kill the 2 of you first and then raise your Scarlet Cloud sect to the ground. Try me if you're not convinced. The black-clothed man snorted coldly and then disappeared with a sway. The 2 white-haired elders looked at the raised stone mountain and did not speak for a long time. Then the taller elder sighed. Even if we joined forces, we're still no match for him. The sect's spiritual weapon is not necessarily useful. It's impossible that he doesn't have a spiritual weapon. Martial uncle, why would such an expert care about a killing order? Did the sect defend someone we shouldn't have? The shorter elder asked. It should be. Tell the sect master to cancel the killing order. Some people can't be offended or it'll be a disaster. This matter might be related to Tianji Tower or Dongshan City. We know all the venerables of the other forces, but there's no such person. The taller elder shook his head helplessly. The Scarlet Cloud sect was very strong, but if they offended a colossus like Tianji Tower, they would be destroyed. The shorter elder nodded. He couldn't take the black-clothed man's attack just now. After Night Sorrow finished celebrating, he left and set off for the far east ice field. During the day, Night Sorrow sat on Tianyu's back and meditated. At night he cultivated in the animal skin shack. When he was halfway there, Night Sorrow finished strengthening the dragon bone on his back and the ribs on both sides. He also successfully strengthened his bone marrow and entered the 7th level of the bone forging realm. He advanced every day, but Night Sorrow's cultivation didn't fall behind at all. With the assistance of the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill and the Origin Spiritual Liquid, his cultivation increased very quickly. Although it wasn't as fast as the last time when he and Yang Lei used their dual mounts, Night Sorrow's speed wasn't slow either. Tianyu's cultivation had improved a lot since that time. When Tianyu returned from the void fiendish space, he had entered the 3rd rank, 9th rank. His speed had far surpassed other flying demonic beasts. After 1.5 months, Night Sorrow arrived at the eastern ice field. Looking at the unfamiliar yet somewhat familiar eastern ice field, Night Sorrow had Tianyu continue flying. Love Gong Little Seku 3 days later, Night Sorrow arrived at the eastern snow mountain. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow didn't continue climbing. Instead he set up a shack and stayed there. He planned to continue climbing the mountain the next day. After feeding Tianyu a beast origin pill, Night Sorrow opened a jar of wine to drink. Suddenly a figure appeared. It was Wu Lingfei wearing a pure white dress and a white veil. She held a white longsword in her hand. "Senior." Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands in greeting. "Your cultivation has increased very quickly. But what are you doing here? If this place had a Heaven's Mandate stone, I wouldn't have needed you to search for it," said Wu Lingfei coldly as she looked at Night Sorrow. "Junior has come to fulfill the promise. Does Senior's promise still count?" Yishang asked. "You came as promised? You mean to say that you have the Heaven's Mandate stone?" Wu Lingfei's voice unconsciously rose a lot. "Yes, it's in this box. But I want to know if Senior's promise still counts?" Night Sorrow took out the jade box and looked at the white-clothed woman. "The spirit tool is naturally yours," said Wu Lingfei as she looked at the box in Night Sorrow's hand. "Not this. I'm talking about borrowing it for free," said Night Sorrow. "Of course, I'm a woman of my word. If I say I'm borrowing it for free, then I'm borrowing it for free." Wu Lingfei nodded. "How long?" asked Night Sorrow again. 3 months at the shortest and half a year at the longest, said Wu Lingfei after thinking for a moment. "Okay." Night Sorrow stepped forward and handed the jade box to Wu Lingfei. After Wu Lingfei opened the jade box, her eyes were attracted to the Heaven's Mandate stone. After a while she closed the box. "You're a woman of your word and so am I. Do you plan to go back now and come back later?" asked Wu Lingfei after closing the jade box. She looked at Night Sorrow and asked, "I'm not going back. I'll wait here for Senior to finish using it." Night Sorrow said. He had already made this decision. After all, going back and forth would take too long and he couldn't afford it. "Then go to my Chenren Peak. I'll go into seclusion and you can cultivate there. Although it's cold there, with your body's strength, you should be able to withstand it. You can treat it as a trial," said Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow nodded. He thought that was fine. After Night Sorrow nodded, Wu Lingfei waved her sleeve. Energy appeared and wrapped around Night Sorrow and Tianyu. Then Night Sorrow felt dizzy and the scenery in the night changed. After a while, the energy around Night Sorrow dissipated and Tianyu could move. Under the cover of the night, Yishang observed his surroundings. They were at the bottom of a mountain. Behind Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei was a cliff, which was also the peak of the mountain. They were at a platform below the peak. "There's a cave there. You can rest and cultivate there. If there's nothing important, don't disturb me." After Wu Lingfei finished speaking, she waved her arm and a jade box appeared. She sat cross-legged on it and opened the jade box, holding the water element Heaven's Mandate stone in her hand. As Wu Lingfei cultivated, an extremely cold energy appeared on her body, and she instantly froze herself. Strong. Night Sorrow couldn't help but admire Wu Lingfei's strength. She directly condensed her energy into ice and froze herself. How heaven-defying was that? Night Sorrow had Tianyu rest while he entered the cave. The cave was very tidy. It seemed this was where Wu Lingfei lived. Thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt it wasn't suitable, so he went to the cave and began to meditate. Night Sorrow felt this place was pretty good. The extremely cold energy was very strong, and he could use this pressure to temper his true Qi and the Myriad Dao Tome's energy. Currently, Night Sorrow's Myriad Dao Tome had reached the 7th level of the bone forging realm. He had begun to strengthen his shoulder bones, collarbone and bone marrow. Once he finished strengthening them, he could enter the 8th level of the bone forging realm. The 8th level of the bone forging realm strengthened his neck and bone marrow. Once he succeeded, he would enter the 9th level of the bone forging realm. Once his skull and bone marrow were strengthened, he would enter the 4th stage of the Myriad Dao Tome, the Unity realm. Cultivating in the biting cold wind was a kind of torture for Night Sorrow, but the true Qi and energy he cultivated was very pure. In terms of perseverance, Night Sorrow had it. When he was thirsty, he would drink a few mouthfuls of wine. When his body needed nourishment, he would eat fasting pills and continue to cultivate. Night Sorrow diligently cultivated, and his cultivation base quickly rose. After all, he was using the Source Spirit Elixir and the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, over a month had passed. Other than feeding Tianyu Beast Essence pills, Night Sorrow didn't get up to come over. Tianyu was already used to this place. He would often go out to hunt demon beast. The eastern snow mountain had ice flood dragons, and the ice flood dragon's gallbladder was a great supplement for them. Chapter 301. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? Here's a wonderful novel for you to read. After looking at the origin stone for a while, Wu Lingfei turned to Night Sorrow and said, I need to go into seclusion again. The mysteries of this origin stone are truly difficult to comprehend. Love go little, say Webku, don't worry. Night Sorrow nodded. You know how to use the power of extreme cold to temper your cultivation. Not bad. Wu Lingfei took out a jar of wine and took a sip from her veil. Later. I plan to go to the Ice Plain Sea to look for Ice Spirit Blood Essence, Night Sorrow said. That's good. Ice Spirit Blood Essence contains a very strong blood essence. You might not be able to absorb it right now. Wait until your body is a bit stronger, then you'll be able to use it, Wu Lingfei said. Then I'll go later. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that the Ice Spirit Blood Essence was very useful. Oh dollar, if you can bring me a few more pieces. Wu Lingfei turned around and took another sip of wine before speaking. Sure. I don't understand one thing. Senior also cultivates a special cultivation method. Your body is very strong, so your blood essence should also be very strong. Can you get more Ice Spirit Blood Essence if you go to the Ice Plain Sea? Night Sorrow asked. No, I have the ice attribute of the water attribute. My body is strong, but my blood essence is not enough, so I can't draw out the Ice Spirit Blood Essence. Wu Lingfei shook her head. Night Sorrow knew that attributes were very important. He also planned to study his own attributes. During this period of time in the extreme cold, it was not suitable for him to activate his attributes, so he didn't touch this area. What is your attribute? While Night Sorrow was thinking, Wu Lingfei asked. This was a very important aspect for cultivators. If one's attribute was strong, then one's combat power would be strong. I don't know. I came here as soon as I reached rank 4. The extreme cold is not suitable for activating my attributes, so I plan to wait, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry, it won't take long. Enter the cave and I'll help you activate it. Wu Lingfei was very interested in Night Sorrow's attributes. Night Sorrow followed Wu Lingfei into the cave. After entering the cave, Wu Lingfei waved her hand and sealed the entrance with ice. Wu Lingfei stood at the entrance of the cave and said, The extreme cold here is still very strong, but it won't suppress the other elements. Focus and feel the elemental powers in the air. Absorb whatever you think you can absorb and then punch me with all your strength. Baidu search AI go female sign xiao say www.ichuxs.com. Night Sorrow nodded and began to meditate to sense the elements in the space. As he focused his mind, Night Sorrow realized that he was surrounded by white dots of light. These white dots of light were mixed with small amounts of yellow, blue, green, red, light purple, milky white, light black, green, dark black, gray and dark gray dots of light. Carefully sensing, Night Sorrow also discovered a type of dark purple bubble and a type of trembling stripe. These two types were hidden in these spots of light. Night Sorrow understood that these spots of light were elemental powers. The first 7 were the ordinary earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light and darkness. Then there was the green life, the dark black death, the gray space, the light gray time, and the faint purple gas and trembling stripe. He wasn't sure, but he suspected that they were void and destruction. Sensing this, Night Sorrow opened his mind and body to absorb. As Night Sorrow absorbed, these spots of light didn't move. Only the dark purple gas entered Night Sorrow's body. Standing up, Night Sorrow punched at Wu Lingfei. It was just an ordinary punch, a punch of the rank 4 cultivation. With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow retreated a few steps. Wu Lingfei didn't move, but her eyes were full of shock. What a tribute! Night Sorrow felt that his chi had changed, but Night Sorrow couldn't tell what it was. Continue absorbing elemental powers and punch again, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down cross-legged, continuing to absorb the attribute of the dark purple bubble. After a while he stood up and punched at Wu Lingfei again. After another collision, Night Sorrow was forced back. Void attribute. It really is the void attribute. Night Sorrow, you're very lucky to be able to comprehend a peak attribute like this. The most fortunate thing is that you met me today. If it were someone from another realm, you'd be dead by now, Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow's expression changed. He knew what the void attribute meant. It was one of the peak attributes. That won't do. If we fight, you'll be exposed, Wu Lingfei said with a frown. I can use profound jade spirit qi. Night Sorrow waved his hand and sent out a palm filled with cold qi. This is a way to hide your own attribute. I didn't think of that. Your profound jade hands is quite good. Wu Lingfei nodded after seeing Night Sorrow's palm. Night Sorrow nodded. In order to cultivate the profound jade hands, he had suffered a lot. Remember, as long as you use the void attribute in a fight, you must kill your opponent. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome. Wu Lingfei reminded Night Sorrow. I don't see how strong the void attribute is. Night Sorrow still had some doubts. Then let me ask you. Did you get attacked by the cold qi just now? You didn't, right? In addition, your fist of the first rank of the fourth step has melted twice as much of my Jin qi as yours. Think about the pros and cons of this. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said. She knew that Night Sorrow had just comprehended the attribute and didn't know the power of a peak attribute. Then I'll take my time to study it. Night Sorrow nodded, feeling very happy. Then I'll continue my seclusion. I estimate it'll take another 2 or 3 months. It won't delay your return. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. She waved her hand and broke the ice at the entrance of the cave. Then she took out an origin stone and continued to cultivate. Night Sorrow sat down at the entrance of the cave and continued to cultivate. As he cultivated, he began to absorb the void attribute. As he circulated his true energy to cultivate, Night Sorrow noticed something shocking. The heavenly fate pearl in his Dantian region was moving. It was spinning, and was emitting a power that was far, far purer than the power he had absorbed on his own. After a while, Night Sorrow's qi was filled with the void attribute. Even so, the void fate pearl was still rotating and pouring attributes into Night Sorrow's Dantian. Night Sorrow tried to pour his qi into the void fate pearl. After pouring it in, Night Sorrow's qi was absorbed by the void fate pearl. However, there was no reaction. Seeing that the void fate pearl was absorbing his qi, but there was no reaction, Night Sorrow continued to pour his qi into the void fate pearl. Night Sorrow used his origin spiritual liquid to recover his qi. Then he continued to pour his qi into the void fate pearl. As long as the void fate pearl could absorb it, he would continue to pour it in. After 7 days, Night Sorrow stopped using the origin spiritual liquid and began to recover his qi. He knew that he had been using the origin spiritual liquid for a long time. His qi was weak and there was no point in assimilating it. After recovering his cultivation base, Yishang continued to channel his true qi into the heavenly fate pearl. Chapter 302. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow had originally planned to go down East Snow Mountain and search for ice spirit blood essence in the Ice Plains Sea. But now he no longer had such thoughts. He wanted to fight to the death with the void fate pearl. As long as it did not affect his cultivation, there was nothing to worry about. This time, Night Sorrow did not calculate the time. He poured his true qi into the void fate pearl. Once his true qi was exhausted, he would sit down and recover before pouring more true qi. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Night Sorrow did not stand up once. When Tianyu returned, Night Sorrow threw a beast pill to Tianyu and continued to fight with the void fate pearl. When Yishang was about to run out of true energy again, the voidless fate bead stopped absorbing true energy. Instead, it began to spin around Yishang's Dantian. At the same time, Yishang felt a special connection between him and the voidless fate bead. It was an inexplicable connection. Looking at the frozen Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow began to cultivate on the platform. He cultivated his spear arts, fist arts, and movement arts. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow discovered that his true qi had a color. It was a very beautiful purple. The color was a little dazzling. Night Sorrow circulated the profound jade spirit qi in his hands to cover up the void attribute. After cultivating for a day, seeing Tianyu return, Night Sorrow wanted to move. Night Sorrow rode Tianyu and flew towards the Ice Plains Sea. He planned to cultivate while moving and collect some ice spirit blood essence. After arriving at the Ice Plains Sea, Night Sorrow got off Tianyu's back. He circulated the myriad Dao Tome's energy and began to run across the Ice Plains Sea while cultivating. As he ran, Night Sorrow pondered. Since he had comprehended the attributes, he could study the protective qi. Currently, he had the energy of the myriad Daos tome to protect his body. However, it was still good to have an additional layer of protective qi. While running, Night Sorrow's Dantian's Jin Qi burst out and formed a protective Jin Qi shield around his body. Without the Jin Qi in his hands, his protective Jin Qi was light purple. Next, Night Sorrow used his profound Jade Spirit energy to change the protective Jin Qi into a white ice-attributed Jin Qi. Night Sorrow tried to switch back and forth to train. The Qi shield could increase one's defense. It was very important for a cultivator as it could block the damage from the harsh environment. After advancing for a day, Night Sorrow collected a piece of Ice Spirit blood essence. He did not stop and continued to run across the icy sea. Tianyu followed right above his head. 4_forever TQ long time free Wi-Fi hashtag C small say, X after running for 10 days Night Sorrow took a detour. After being hundreds of miles away from the original path, he continued to run back. 20 days later he returned to the East Snow Mountain. Not only did he collect 13 pieces of Ice Spirit blood essence, but he also cultivated his Jin Qi to the peak of the Spirit Severing stage. The progress of the Myriad Daos tome was also very fast. At the foot of the East Snow Mountain, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu back to the Qinren Peak. At the same place, Night Sorrow saw Wu Lingfei breaking out of the ice. "I thought you didn't want the Origin Stone and ran away." Wu Lingfei put the Origin Stone into a jade box and handed it to Night Sorrow. "Have you comprehended the mystery?" Night Sorrow took back the water attribute Origin Stone and asked. He had noticed that Wu Lingfei was holding the Origin Stone. It was not damaged and the energy was very rich just like before. "How can it be that easy? I just comprehended it. I will slowly understand it in the future. Now let's talk about the spirit tools. I killed some venerables in the early years and collected some spirit tools. What kind of spirit tools do you need?" Wu Lingfei asked. "I only know spear arts and I won't change, so I only use spear arts." Night Sorrow said. He would not give up on spear arts cultivation. Baidu search AI Go Xiao Shua www.achux.com. "I don't have a spirit tool spear, so I'll give you a defensive spirit tool. However, you can't use its power at the moment. Give me your hand and I will help you refine it." Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow stretched out his hand. Wu Lingfei waved her left hand and energy streaked across the back of Night Sorrow's hand, taking away a stream of blood. A white vest appeared on her right hand. Wu Lingfei poured Night Sorrow's blood into the vest. Then, energy appeared on her hands and covered the vest. After half a cup of tea's time, Night Sorrow had a special feeling in his heart. He felt that the vest had a connection with him. You should be able to feel it. From now on, wear it close to your body. Although you are weak, this ice silk soft garment can help you block an all-out attack from an opponent one level higher than you. If you enter the 5th level, then even a venerable won't be able to heavily injure you in one move. I originally wanted to give you a low-grade spirit weapon, but I don't have any spears so I can only let you have it. Wu Lingfei handed the ice silk soft garment to Yishan. "Thank you, senior." Yishan took the soft ice silk clothing, put it away and bowed. "You've helped me twice. A long time ago I was injured and my chi and blood were unable to recover. I knew that the Ice Plain Sea had ice spirit blood essence but I couldn't get it. There were no ice spirit wells near the Ice Snow Mountain, so I could only rely on the East Snow Mountain's extreme cold to nourish my body. You came and helped me solve this problem. Also, you brought the Source Stone. You'll know its use later," Wu Lingfei said. "Senior, you are the top fighting force of the Eastern Shen region. If there is a region war you will have to contribute. As someone from the Eastern Shen region, I will naturally contribute to the Eastern Shen region. Even if I don't have a spirit weapon I will still fulfill my promise," said Yishang. "I can understand your intentions. I won't stay in the East Snow Mountain for long in the future. If you have any problems in the Eastern Shen region, just crush the Spirit Pearl and I will rush over as soon as possible." Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. "Junior understands. As for the Origin Stone, it's not that I'm stingy, but that I have other uses. Here is another type of Origin Stone. If Senior needs it I can lend it to you for a few years." Night Sorrow took out the Fire Origin Stone. After taking the Fire Origin Stone and looking at it, Wu Lingfei put it back into the jade box and returned it to Night Sorrow. "This is not compatible with my attribute. Studying it will increase my fighting strength, but it's better to focus on comprehending the law of water. Remember, a man's wealth is his own ruin. These are all life-threatening things." "Senior, do you still need the Ice Spirit blood essence?" Night Sorrow asked. "You have extra?" Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I went to look for it a few days ago and got some. Night Sorrow took out 6 or 7 pieces and put them in front of him. You are really amazing. I can't help but admire you. I reckon that you will need this to help you cultivate soon. I'll take 2 pieces. It's easy for you to find them, but it's harder for me to find them. A naturally erupting ice spirit well is no different from looking for a needle in a haystack. Wu Lingfei said with a sigh after taking the 2 pieces. I'll look for some more on my way out. Senior, please keep them. Night Sorrow bent down and picked up the ice spirit blood essence and handed it to Wu Lingfei. Chapter 303. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Tianji Tower? Senior is from Tianji Tower? Night Sorrow was shocked. He didn't expect Tianji Tower to be so strong. Even the unfathomable Wu Lingfei was related to Tianji Tower. Is there a problem? Wu Lingfei frowned at Night Sorrow. Clearly his words had touched her. No problem, Junior also knows a few people from Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow said. Yes, of course. You're so outstanding. If they couldn't find you, then they must be blind. All right, I'll take you down East Snow Mountain, then you can go back early. Wu Lingfei waved her arm and wrapped Night Sorrow and Tianyu, then flew down East Snow Mountain. Tianyu needed to fly for a while, but with Wu Lingfei's help, it only took a few breaths. Most of the chapters in Chapter 5 * section above 3. After reaching the foot of East Snow Mountain, Wu Lingfei released the energy control and released Night Sorrow and Tianyu. This is my token. Take it, it might be useful. Go back early. Tossing a token to Yi Shan, Wu Lingfei's figure flashed as she disappeared into the vast expanse of white ice. Seeing Wu Lingfei leave, Night Sorrow took out the ice silk soft clothes from his storage ring and looked at it carefully. The ice silkworm soft garment was a close-fitting soft garment in the shape of a small vest. Touching the soft garment, Yi Shang felt as if it was connected to his flesh and blood. Yi Shang knew that this was because it had recognized him as its master. Normally, Night Sorrow couldn't recognize a spirit tool as its master with his 4th stage cultivation. It was Wu Lingfei who used her high cultivation to force the ice silk soft clothes to recognize him as its master. After putting on the ice silk soft clothes, Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei's token. It was a white jade pendant with the word Wu engraved on it. After putting away the token, Night Sorrow began to run forward. Although he had accumulated some ice spirit blood essence, it would be better if he could get some when he went out. In the headquarters of Dongxin City's Tianji Tower, Yin Shuai and Ho Yuan were drinking tea. The 2 old fogies from the Scarlet Cloud sect should be scared now. If they don't withdraw the kill order, I'll go there again, Ho Yuan said as he sipped his tea. It's not up to them not to be afraid. If they dare to not be afraid, then we'll teach them a lesson until they're afraid. Yin Shuai said with a smile. While the 2 of them were talking, Lei Hua came in followed by Jiao Qing. Lei Hua threw a letter on the table. You 2 take a look. If there's no problem, we'll report it. Yin Shuai picked up the letter and read it before passing it to Ho Yuan. What is this guy doing? Why is he so troublesome? Ho Yuan said after reading the letter. When Supervisor Lan left, she said that if Night Sorrow enters the 4th stage within 2 years, we'll report it. Since Night Sorrow has broken through, we'll report it, Yin Shuai said. Night Sorrow's matter was the responsibility of the Tianji Tower's Law Protector team. It was his subordinate's matter, so he was very happy about it. Then we have nothing to study. We'll report it directly, haha. If he passes the inspection, he'll be a 4-star in the heaven rank trial, Lei Hua said happily. Looks like we'll have to supervise Ho Jian and Nan Liue. They've been left behind, Ho Yuan said. It's not that Ho Jian and Nan Liue are inferior. Night Sorrow's rise is too fast and too dazzling. In addition, Lei Bao and Lei Zheng from the Thunder Rumbling sect have entered the 4th stage, Su Wang from the Golden Flame sect has entered the 4th stage, and Ho Yuan's junior, Ho Qingjie. All of them can enter the Black Watch. The problem is whether they have the qualifications to start the heaven rank trial, Lei Hua said as he sat down. Su Wang, Lei Zheng and Ho Qingjie are all very outstanding. Just give them a black eye and recruit them directly. Lei Bao is not bad. I think we should start the Heaven's Fate assessment, Ho Yuan said. At this time he was extremely fair. Elder Ho is right. Lei Zheng and Ho Qingjie are stronger than Su Wang, but it's enough to recruit them directly. Lei Bao can be given a chance. Yin Shuai agreed with Ho Yuan's point of view. Then it's decided. Organize the information and report it directly. Also, Observe Su Mu from the Golden Flame sect. He's very talented, Lei Hui decided. Night Sorrow ran across the ice plains every day. If he was lucky, he would be able to collect ice spirit blood essences. 6 days later, Night Sorrow left the Far East ice plains. He had collected 5 more ice spirit blood essences. Now he had close to 20 ice spirit blood essences in his storage ring. After leaving the Far East ice plains, Night Sorrow got on Tianyu's back and flew towards the Medicine Valley. If there was nothing urgent, Night Sorrow would travel during the day and rest during the night. While traveling, he would also raise his cultivation base. Night Sorrow was already at the 2nd level of the spirit severing stage. However, his cultivation of the Myriad Tao treasured tome was a little slow. After all, the origin spirit liquid was still a little lacking in terms of cultivation of the body. What made Night Sorrow the happiest was that the Void Fate Pearl was constantly releasing a purple void attribute, transforming Night Sorrow's true chi. When resting at night, Night Sorrow would often be attacked by demonic beasts. However, Night Sorrow didn't need to deal with them. Tianyu would directly kill them. Day after day passed. Night Sorrow was getting closer and closer to the Medicine Valley. While flying, he would also be attacked by flying demonic beasts. However, Night Sorrow and Tianyu were now extremely strong. If they didn't open their eyes, they would be killed. 2 months later, Night Sorrow returned to Danding City and directly went to the Dragon Spring Courtyard. After returning to the Dragon Spring Courtyard, Night Sorrow didn't see Yang Lei. However, he knew that the Red Cloud sect and the Golden Flame sect had joined forces to attack the Medicine Valley. They didn't send out any venerables. They were all below the 5th level. Of course, the Medicine Valley didn't hold back. They directly organized people to fight back. The O family also sent out disciples to participate in the battle. Now the battle was very intense. How could this be? Night Sorrow asked, somewhat puzzled. You killed the Red Cloud sect too miserably in the alternate space. Therefore they hit it off with the Golden Flame sect and want to attack the Medicine Valley. Aoi, who was staying in the Dragon Spring Courtyard, said, Why is it my business again? Night Sorrow was somewhat speechless. He really didn't want to cause trouble for the Medicine Valley. However, trouble came again. This is called the tree wants to be quiet, but the wind won't stop. You hurt the Red Cloud sect and the Golden Flame sect is cheap. What can you do? Sikong Chiyu said. Since they're here, then let's kill them. Night Sorrow was somewhat angry. The matter in the alternate space was solved in the alternate space. What kind of ability was it to come out and settle accounts? You don't have to worry. It's currently a mess. The Southern Dipper sect and the Walkabout sect have attacked the Red Cloud sect. The Holy Light sect and the Thunder Rumbling sect are also fighting. It's said that the Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples killed many of the Holy Light sect's disciples. Oi said. It's really chaotic. The Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples are not bad. They are a bit overbearing, but they are very magnanimous. Night Sorrow said. He had a good impression of Lei Bao and Lei Zhang. Among the 7 superpowers of the Eastern Profound Domain, the strongest is the Holy Light sect. However, the most belligerent is the Thunder Rumbling sect. If the Holy Light sect wants to show off in front of the Thunder Rumbling sect, then they've found the wrong place. Aoi explained the situation of the Holy Light sect and the Thunder Rumbling sect to Night Sorrow. This time it's a chaotic situation. Where did my 9th senior sister go? Night Sorrow asked. She went to Nanyang City. She went there to guard the situation. Senior brother and the others are also there. You don't have to worry. You should rest and accompany Sikong. You haven't seen each other in a long time. Aoi smiled and left. Chapter 304. Geniuses remember love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Did everything go well? Sikong Chiyu asked after entering the main building. Very well. All the problems have been solved. How have you been recently? Night Sorrow asked while holding Sikong Chiyu's hand. $**U only original W version O, P and him. Are all stolen D versions plus very well. It's just too quiet without you around. Sikong Chiyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that with Sikong Chiyu here and Yang Lei not around, it would indeed be lonely. Aoi had to guide the disciples in their cultivation and couldn't accompany him all the time. Night Sorrow and Sikong Chiyu chatted while drinking tea. Night Sorrow hadn't been so relaxed in a long time. After that, the two of them went to the dining room to eat. The dining room was very lively. Yang Lei and Qing Ji's disciples were all here. There were a lot of people here and it was very noisy. When they saw Night Sorrow, these disciples bowed to him. This wasn't just respect for seniority, but also respect for the strong. In the Medicine Valley, if you didn't know the name Night Sorrow, then you didn't deserve to be a disciple of the Medicine Valley. Not only in Taishan Peak, but in the entire Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow was a model of the sect's disciples. Make yourselves at home. Everyone sit down and eat. Yi Shang waved his hand at the group of third-generation disciples. He found a seat and sat down. Sikong Chuyu sat beside him. Night Sorrow came to eat to relieve his emotions and find the feeling. After eating a little, he put down his bowl and chopsticks. 13th Martial Uncle, can you tell us how to cultivate faster? Seeing Night Sorrow put down his bowl and chopsticks, He Miao walked over and asked. Actually, I don't know either. I feel that we have to know what we want first and then work hard to fight for it. Only by fighting for it can we get what we want. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said. 6th Martial Uncle, I don't really understand. He Miao looked at Aoi. Actually, your 13th Martial Uncle's fast cultivation speed is related to his talent. But the most important thing is his hard work. Since he entered the sect, his life has only been cultivation and experience. But this might not be suitable for you. Aoi said. He Miao and the others nodded. They really didn't understand Night Sorrow's rise. After eating, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu went to the Skywater Lake to enjoy the breeze. The silver fox cub also followed behind. It shouldn't be called a cub anymore. It had grown a lot and its cultivation had reached the mid-stage of the second order. It was very close to Night Sorrow. This was something that no one could compare to. Even Aoi, Sikong Chuyu, Hai Luo, and the others who had been taking care of him all this time. Enjoying the night breeze, Night Sorrow's heart was exceptionally peaceful. He hugged Sikong Chuyu and didn't need to say anything. The other party knew what they were thinking. Chuyu, I'll accompany you to the Qingtian region later, okay? Now that the Eastern Shen region is in chaos and the Medicine Valley is in a difficult situation, I have to help. Night Sorrow said. I know there's no hurry. It's not bad to accompany you in the Eastern Shen region like this. I know that you're going to participate in the war. I'll go with you. If the Sikong clan and Jiyu clan find out that I'm here, we'll run. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't have many worries now. He didn't need to take a position in Tianji Tower now, but he could also ask for a position himself. If Sikong Chuyu was exposed again, then Night Sorrow could go to Tianji Tower, take a mission, and go to another region to cultivate quietly. As for whether the Jiyu clan and Sikong clan would threaten the Medicine Valley, this problem wouldn't appear. First of all, without a venerable, no one could shake the foundation of the Medicine Valley. Producing a venerable? Tianji Tower wouldn't watch. The night was a little cold. Night Sorrow put his outer robe on Sikong Chuyu. Let's go back and rest. You've been eating and sleeping in the open these days. You need to have a good sleep. Sikong Chuyu said. Night Sorrow nodded and returned to her pavilion with Sikong Chuyu in his arms. Go in and have a cup of hot tea. Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. He also wanted to accompany Sikong Chuyu for a while. Staying in the bamboo pavilion, Sikong Chuyu lit a red candle and made a pot of tea. Such a scene has appeared in my mind many times. Night Sorrow said with a smile. It will happen often in the future, but we may need to add a few more chairs. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. What for? Night Sorrow was stunned and asked. What about 9th senior sister? Also, if you help us find a few more sisters, we'll need more chairs. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Chuyu, I'm sorry. I didn't handle these things well. Night Sorrow said apologetically. Don't be like this. I don't mean to blame you. I also like 9th senior sister. Sikong Chuyu held Night Sorrow's hand and said. Night Sorrow nodded. As long as Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei had a good relationship, he felt at ease. Okay, let's rest. Sikong Chuyu's face was a little red. Then I won't leave. Looking at Sikong Chuyu's beautiful face, Night Sorrow was a little touched. Then Sikong Chuyu took off her skirt and helped Night Sorrow hang up his outer robe. Night Sorrow sat beside Sikong Chuyu and looked at Sikong Chuyu quietly. Chuyu, you're so beautiful. Night Sorrow held Sikong Chuyu's hand and said. You also know how to coax people. Let's rest. Sikong Chuyu's face was very red. Night Sorrow nodded and hugged Sikong Chuyu to lie on the bed. Hugging Sikong Chuyu's delicate body and nose full of Sikong Chuyu's scent, Night Sorrow had a reaction. Night Sorrow, you? Sikong Chuyu, who was leaning on Night Sorrow's arm, felt the change in Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a little embarrassed and didn't know how to explain. Night Sorrow, I haven't known you for a long time. I understand you, so I don't blame you. I also want to be your woman and be with you for the rest of my life. Sikong Chuyu's voice was as soft as a mosquito's. I didn't think so, but this happened. Please don't mind. Night Sorrow didn't want to pressure Sikong Chuyu. I don't mind. I understand. Sikong Chuyu looked up at Night Sorrow. She liked this kind of Night Sorrow who was simple and considerate. Night Sorrow lowered his head and kissed Sikong Chuyu's red lips. At this time he couldn't control himself anymore. Sikong Chuyu hugged Night Sorrow's neck and passionately kissed him back. The two of them rolled on the bed. As they rolled, their clothes became less and less. After a while, they were naked under the red candles. Sikong Chuyu's body was like white jade. It was a masterpiece given to the human world by God. Noticing Night Sorrow looking at her, Sikong Chuyu pulled the blanket over herself. You can't look at me like that. Go and blow out the light. Night Sorrow nodded and got up to extinguish the red candles. Then he returned to the bedside. Sikong Chuyu reached out and held Night Sorrow's hand. Night Sorrow returned to the bed and covered Night Sorrow with the blanket. Chapter 305. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow, I'm here. Sikong Chuyu moved the quilt and hugged Yishan. Yishan looked at Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu looked at Yishan and hugged him. Night Sorrow couldn't think of anything else at this moment. He hugged Sikong Chuyu and gently placed him on the bed. Then he gently pressed down on Sikong Chuyu's delicate body. Soft moans and gasps echoed in the bamboo building. The moment the golden phoenix and the jade dew met, it was better than countless things in the world. After a long time, the storm gradually subsided. Yishang tightly hugged Sikong Chuyu. Yishang were together. Leaning on Yishang's shoulder, Sikong Chuyu's voice was still a little breathless. Yes. Night Sorrow said in a low voice, we're together now. Chuyu, when I go to the realm of Qingtian, I'll propose marriage. I won't let you follow me around like this. Sikong Chuyu leaned on Night Sorrow's shoulder and said, I don't care about that as long as we're together. I'm willing to win the heart of one of us and stay together forever. I'll keep that in mind, Night Sorrow said as he stroked Sikong Chuyu's hair. The two of them hugged each other and chatted casually. It was inevitable that their passion would ignite again. The two of them woke up early in the morning. When Night Sorrow woke up, Sikong Chuyu tidied up the bedsheets because there were plum blossoms blooming on them. Noticing Night Sorrow's gaze, Sikong Chuyu felt a little embarrassed. Don't look. Night Sorrow smiled and went to wash up. He was very happy that he had a woman he liked. Now he just had to work hard to increase his cultivation. When they were having breakfast together, Always smiled at the two of them. Congratulations. 6th senior sister. Sikong Chuyu blushed. She knew she couldn't hide such a thing. Alright, let's eat. 13 You have to treat Chuyu well in the future. Otherwise, 6th senior sister won't forgive you. Aoi glanced at Night Sorrow and said. Sikong Chuyu's transformation from a girl to a woman couldn't be hidden from her. Love Gong Little Seiko. After eating something, Night Sorrow chatted with Sikong Chuyu in the garden of the other courtyard. He was not in a hurry to cultivate, so he didn't mind spending one more day. Night Sorrow, you've already split your soul by 2 levels. Have you cultivated your elemental and protective chi? Sikong Chuyu asked. I've cultivated it, but there's a small problem. Night Sorrow told him about his nihility attribute. You can't tell anyone about this. Otherwise trouble will come. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chuyu was a little anxious. This matter was too big and could shock the world. I'm telling you. If I don't tell anyone, it won't be exposed easily. Night Sorrow smiled. Whether it's the nihility attribute or the nihility attribute, they are both factors that can cause a storm of blood. Do you know why the cores of demonic beasts below the 4th rank are not worth much? Because they don't contain any elemental attributes. It's the same for cultivators. Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. After that, Sikong Chuyu explained the importance of elemental cores to Night Sorrow. Whether it was humans or demonic beasts, once they reached the 4th rank, their cores would have elemental attributes. Absorbing elemental energy to cultivate was a method of cultivating elemental attributes. You mean if they know my elemental attribute, others will kill me and steal my core? Night Sorrow asked in shock. Yes. The nihility attribute is the highest attribute and can restrain other attributes. Everyone covets this attribute, so you have to be careful. Sikong Chuyu nodded. Her heart was filled with worry. If this continued, Night Sorrow would be at the center of the storm sooner or later. It would be very dangerous. I have a way to hide it. Night Sorrow's true chi flowed through his hands and exploded, forming a milky white protective shield. Ice attribute? Sikong Chuyu was stunned. Night Sorrow then explained the characteristics of his mystic ice hands to Sikong Chuyu. After what happened last night, the two did not need to be separated. That's not bad. Sikong Chuyu nodded. With this mystic jade spiritual chi to hide the nihility attribute, it would not be discovered. After lunch, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu planned to leave for Nanyang City. After a morning's rest, Sikong Chuyu's pain had already recovered. Always said a few words to the two before sending them off. Riding on Tianyu, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu set off for Nanyang City. Sitting on Tianyu's back, Sikong Chuyu leaned into Night Sorrow's embrace. I like this feeling. In the future, let's find a place with beautiful scenery and live a peaceful life. Chuyu, I still want to find my parents first. Night Sorrow whispered. This matter was buried deep in his heart. I know. When it's convenient, let's walk around. Your jade pendant should be a very important clue. Sikong Chuyu said. Time passed quickly as they chatted. In 2 days the two arrived at Nanyang City. When they arrived at Nanyang City, Night Sorrow could feel the tense atmosphere of battle. The people coming and going in the city were all armored city guards. Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu did not ride Tianyu into the city. It would be easy for them to be attacked. This place was different from Danding City. Night Sorrow did not have special privileges. When they arrived at the city lord's mansion, Night Sorrow took out his identity token. The guards were disciples of Medicine Valley. They recognized Night Sorrow and led Night Sorrow into the city lord's mansion. Inside the city lord's mansion, Night Sorrow saw Yang Lei, Chu Ling Xiao and Wu Qi. Ninth senior sister, I'm here. Second senior brother Chu, you're all here. Night Sorrow greeted them as they entered the city lord's mansion. Sikong Chuyu also cupped his fists in greeting. 13, you're here. Have a seat. Yang Lei nodded at Night Sorrow. After Night Sorrow sat down, Yang Lei and the others continued to talk about the current situation. Then Night Sorrow learned about the current situation. The current battlefield between Medicine Valley, O Family Golden Flame Sect, and Scarlet Cloud Sect was at Nanyang Lake. They were all gathered there to fight. Currently both sides had victories and losses. Fight at that place? Night Sorrow asked, a little surprised. That's right. Both sides have venerables. The intimidation of venerables is useless. If you sneak attack, then I'll sneak attack as well. Why don't we just crush them in a head-on battle? This is a competition of strength. Whoever can't withstand it will be pushed forward by the other side, Yang Lei said. Is Medicine Valley's loss serious? Night Sorrow asked. It's okay. We lost some protectors and enforcers. The city guards that were mobilized from all over the place also suffered a great loss, Wu Qi said. I'm going to participate in the battle tomorrow, Night Sorrow said. It's not very safe in the chaotic battle. It's better if you don't go, Chu Ling Xiao said. Senior brother Chu, I'm going to participate. Scarlet Cloud Sect and Golden Flame Sect declared war on Medicine Valley because of me. How can I hide at the back at this time? Yishang shook his head. He did not want to see the disciples of the Medicine Valley fighting for their lives in front of him while he himself was still hiding in the back. Permanent, free VT fee/watch VT talk. Chapter 306. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Hearing this, Night Sorrow frowned. Don't we have an antidote in the Medicine Valley? Yes, but it's useless. The poison of the red cloud needle takes effect instantly. In that kind of chaotic battle, a momentary delay in reaction is fatal. There's no chance to take the antidote. Yang Lei shook her head and said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew the power of the red cloud needle. When Yang Lei was hit by the red cloud needle, she couldn't move, let alone the other 4th level guardians and law enforcers. After talking for a while, Chu Ling Xiao and Wu Qi went to rest. They had just returned from the front and were tired. Yang Lei took Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu to the backyard of the city lord's mansion and told Night Sorrow the current situation in detail. The Golden Flame Sect and the Red Cloud Sect were fighting to the death with the Medicine Valley. The Medicine Valley sent out the older generation who volunteered to participate in the battle. In other words, they were members with little potential. As the older generation of the Medicine Valley, they were all aware and willing to fight for the Medicine Valley. They were willing to sacrifice themselves and work hard for the future of the Medicine Valley. This kind of desperate fight won't affect the development of the Medicine Valley, but it's heartbreaking. They are all good disciples of the Medicine Valley. Yang Lei said with some emotion. Ninth senior sister, don't they use poison needles? Find someone to make me some steel needles or dental needles. If they can use poison needles, so can we. Love go little say, Chunite Sorrow said. Normally, the bone needles made from the bones of high-level monsters were very powerful. However, what Night Sorrow wanted to make was bone-rotting poison. Bone needles were not suitable. Only steel needles and dental needles with hardness close to that of ore would work. Then let's try it. Guards. Yang Lei called someone and directly gave the order. Night Sorrow, be careful when using poison. Don't hurt yourself, Sikong Chuyu reminded Night Sorrow. I will. Night Sorrow nodded. Then you guys have a good rest. I still have to go to the City Lord's mansion to sort out the information. These bastards are really troublesome. Yang Lei cursed softly. Where are eldest senior brother and the others? Night Sorrow asked. Currently, neither side has sent out any stage 5 cultivators. However, in order to prevent any accidents, Great Elder and Great Senior Brother are standing guard at the front, Yang Lei said. Are any of us injured? Night Sorrow asked. Your 11th senior brother was slightly injured. It happened the day before yesterday. The other side joined the new forces. We couldn't hold them off with only the older generation of protectors and enforcers. The second-generation disciples of Taishan Peak and Arctic Peak joined the battle. A few of them were injured but none of them died. Yang Lei opened her mouth and said. I'm sorry, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow's expression turned cold. Mo Chen's injuries had angered him. One had to know that Mo Chen had taken good care of him. During that period of time, Mo Chen had accompanied him on missions. Look at section Z3 on chapter 17 I'll join you guys later. Yang Lei was busy. She nodded at Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu and left. This is how the world works. The strong prey on the weak. If you are weak, others will bully you. If you are strong, others will respect you, Sikong Chuyu said. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www. Ichuxs. Zoam Night Sorrow nodded. He understood what Sikong Chuyu meant because he already had a lot of feelings. In the evening, Yang Lei returned with a bunch of steel needles. Night Sorrow took out the bone-rotting grass and thought for a moment. It's a waste to use it directly. I'll go get a pill furnace to refine poison. With Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu accompanying him, Night Sorrow went to buy 2 pill furnaces. After entering the 4th rank, Night Sorrow could condense alchemy fire and use a 4th rank pill furnace. The previous pill furnace had to be eliminated. He prepared 2 because one was used to refine poison and the other was used to refine other pills. After returning to the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow used some green radish grass to refine 2 large bottles of bone-rotting liquid. He then put on a pair of gloves and soaked the tips of the steel needles in the liquid. He then inserted them into his hidden weapon belt. This way he wouldn't hurt himself. Will this work? Yang Lei asked. It's more ruthless than their red cloud needles. This bone-rotting grass is very rare, Night Sorrow said. Yang Lei nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow never exaggerated. After a night's rest, the 3 of them set off for Nanyang Lake under Yang Lei's lead. It took them half a day to reach the Medicine Valley's camp by the Nanyang Lake. Old 9, why did you let 13 come? Nonsense. The Great Elder glared at Yang Lei. Currently, the Medicine Valley didn't send out any young disciples because they were the future pillars of the Medicine Valley and needed protection. Night Sorrow was also the target of absolute protection. Great Elder, please don't blame my 9th senior sister. I was the one who wanted to come. They are all disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow is one too. If they can sacrifice themselves for the Medicine Valley, so can Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow said while looking at the injured disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow, this is not your battlefield. Go back. Qianwu shouted. Great Elder, Second Elder, you are all doing this for my own good. I know this. However, I can't watch my fellow disciples fight while I hide at the back. If I do that, I won't be able to face my own heart, Night Sorrow said. The Great Elder and Second Elder didn't say anything. Since Night Sorrow had put it this way, their refusal was equivalent to a blow to their morale. Don't worry, Great Elder. We will stand at the front. We won't let anything happen to Night Sorrow, a white-haired old man said. A white-haired old man said. He was one of the people who had exhausted his potential and was charging at the very front. Don't worry, Great Elder. The other disciples of the Medicine Valley also stood up and said, I, Night Sorrow, am willing to live and die together with everyone. Night Sorrow said while waving his reincarnation spear. Live and die together. Live and die together. All the disciples of the Medicine Valley shouted. At this moment, the disciples of the Medicine Valley were filled with fighting spirit. Great Elder, I'm sorry. Night Sorrow bowed to the Great Elder. The Great Elder took a deep breath and nodded to Night Sorrow. You are the pride of the Medicine Valley. Go. Thank you, Great Elder. Night Sorrow was very happy to receive the Great Elder's permission. Looking at Night Sorrow's slightly immature but determined face, the Great Elder made a decision. If Night Sorrow was in danger, he would save Night Sorrow even if he had to risk the lives of the experts on the other side. Night Sorrow set up a huge animal skin tent. He and Sikong Chuyu still needed to rest. Besides, Yang Lei was also there. After Night Sorrow set up the tent, all the disciples of the Taishan Peak arrived. 13. Your fourth senior brother is impressed by your cultivation speed, Huang'an said with a smile. Fourth senior brother, come and drink. Night Sorrow opened the jug and poured a bowl of wine for everyone. Actually, it's nothing. Tomorrow, third senior brother and I will fight. You will follow behind him, Lu Ping said. Thank you, fifth senior brother. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Lu Peng. 13. I believe in your fighting ability. The main thing is to be careful of the opponent's Scarlet Cloud Needle. Don't rush to the front. Even if you get hit by the needle, others can save you, Gong Xian reminded Night Sorrow. Chapter 307. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. 13. Stay close to me and your fifth senior brother tomorrow, Huanan, who had been silent all this time, said. He had been thinking about how to make Night Sorrow safer. Didn't you say that the disciples who participated in the battle were those who had exhausted their potential? Why are all of you participating? Night Sorrow felt that this statement was not right. Unspecified currency. Now first you, most of them are, but without a disciple in the late stage of the spirit-severing stage, they can't withstand the enemy's attacks. Therefore, the second-generation disciples of each peak have to be the leaders. In order to avoid the enemy's red cloud needles, they have to engage in close combat with the enemy's masters. Even so, there are still disciples from Wangyun Peak who have died, Gong Xian explained to Night Sorrow. Eldest senior brother, I also have poison needles here. I can let third senior brother and fifth senior brother use them tomorrow. Night Sorrow took out the bone-rotting steel needles and placed them on the table. How's the effect? Gong Xian asked as he pulled out a poison needle. The poison needle is poisonous in the blue area, but it's fine in the white area. As long as it comes into contact with the flesh of animals or humans, it will directly corrode into blood, Night Sorrow said. Then everyone pulled a gray bear for food and did an experiment. As a result, the gray bear fell instantly and slowly turned into blood. 13. Isn't this too overbearing? Lu Ping said. Love Gong Little Seke. Yesterday 13 knew that the Red Cloud sect used poison needles, so he researched this to restrain them. If they use the Red Cloud needles, we will use this, Yang Lei said as she hugged Night Sorrow's shoulder. Very good. Everyone take some and throw them away on the battlefield. Let them have a taste of the poison needles, Gong Xian said. Then everyone took some poison needles, chatted for a while and returned to their shacks to rest. Ninth senior sister, Chuyu, each of you take a few for self-defense, Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu also took a few and carefully inserted them into their handkerchiefs. Ninth senior sister, I still have some bone-rotting liquid. If you can't handle it, you can go and forge some steel needles, Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei. The quality of the steel needles is not good enough. We can't waste the venom. We have to make some good needles, Yang Lei said. Then use the ice WRM tooth. Night Sorrow gave the ice WRM tooth he collected to Yang Lei and let Yang Lei arrange it. Then Night Sorrow took out the red cloud needle. Under the confused gazes of Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, he pricked his left arm. Then the black jade spiritual energy rushed to his arm. What are you doing? Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu both stood up nervously. However, what happened next stunned the two girls. Night Sorrow swung the red cloud needle back and forth in his left arm. He was not affected at all. Then Night Sorrow's left arm shook, and the red cloud needle was shaken out. A little black blood even oozed out. This red cloud needle can't hurt me, Night Sorrow said with a smile. The red cloud needle's venom was very strong, but Night Sorrow's body had been strengthened. His flesh and blood were filled with energy so the venom could not spread quickly. Then Night Sorrow's black jade spiritual energy froze the needle. This is possible? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow in shock. She knew the power of the red cloud needle very well. It's fine as long as the venom doesn't spread, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yang Lei still did not understand, but she did not continue to ask. Then the three of them meditated and rested, waiting for the next day's battle. The battle went on every day. They fought in the morning and reorganized in the afternoon. When they woke up in the morning, Sikong Chuyu helped Night Sorrow tidy up his hair. My cultivation is at rank 5, so I can't fight with you. You have to be careful. Love, Gon Little say W. Chu. Night Sorrow nodded. He carried the reincarnation spear and went to the camp of the Medicine Valley's disciples who were going to fight. 13. You have to be careful. The battle will take place at the stone mountain next to the shoal, Huanan said as he pointed at a place more than 10 li ahead. This was a special area. Both sides were camping at a relatively high place. It was a forest area and Nanyang Lake was on the side. The middle area was relatively low. It was a shoal and there was a stone mountain on the shoal. The originally green and white stones were already covered with dark streaks, which were traces of blood. Third, senior brother, you have to be careful too. We have a lot of poison needles. If we can't handle it, we can rush out, Night Sorrow said to Huanan. Huanan nodded. This battle is a war of attrition. Both sides will send out around 200 people to seize the stone mountain until one side retreats. So don't rush too far ahead. While Huanan was speaking, a group of people rushed out from the opposite camp and headed towards the stone mountain. Medicine Valley's disciples, move out. The Great Elder waved his hand. As the Great Elder waved his hand, the Medicine Valley's disciples set off. The O Clan's people cheered. The Medicine Valley and the O Clan were fighting together, but their members were separated. Otherwise, there would be accidental injuries in the chaotic battle. This time, the Medicine Valley's disciples might be the O Clan's next. Soon, both sides met at the foot of the stone mountain and began to fight. Night Sorrow's true energy burst forth and formed a protective true energy around his body. He poured his vibrating energy into his reincarnation spear and slashed towards the Golden Flame Sect's disciple. Seeing that Night Sorrow's cultivation was at the second level of the spirit-severing stage, the Golden Flame Sect's old man, who was at the fourth level of the spirit-severing stage, sneered. He waved his battle blade and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Clang! With a muffled sound, the old man's battle blade was shaken off. His arms were also wrapped in snow-white frost. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear instantly slashed across the old man's throat. After killing the old man, Night Sorrow's feet trembled. He swept his reincarnation spear and smashed it towards another Golden Flame Sect's disciple. Night Sorrow's arms had the strength of over 20,000 jin. In addition, his true energy was completely unleashed. How could this Golden Flame Sect's disciple, who was at the same level as Night Sorrow, withstand? His arms that were holding weapons were directly shaken off. His head was also smashed. Without even looking at the corpse, Night Sorrow waved his spear and pierced towards the neck of the old man who was suppressing the Medicine Valley's disciple. Feeling the strong wind assaulting his body, the old man turned around. Ignoring Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear, he swung his blade towards Night Sorrow's left chest. This was a method of fighting where both sides would suffer. He had exhausted all his potential. If he could fight until he defeated a young disciple like Night Sorrow, he would have profited. Die! Night Sorrow roared. His left hand executed the mysterious jade hands and grabbed towards the old man's battle blade. This scene caused the faces of the Medicine Valley's disciples to change. Night Sorrow's actions were too irrational. Exchanging one life for another was fine under normal circumstances. However, it was inappropriate in a group battle. Reckless! The Great Elder roared. His body flashed and he was about to attack. Great Elder, wait! Yang Lei had confidence in Night Sorrow, so she stopped the Great Elder. She knew the power of Night Sorrow's mysterious jade hands. Just as the Great Elder was wondering how Yang Lei stopped him, the situation of the battle changed. Night Sorrow's left hand grabbed the Golden Flame Sect's old man's battle blade. The reincarnation spear in his right hand pierced through the old man's chest. Then Night Sorrow swung his left hand and threw the battle blade towards the Golden Flame Sect's disciples. He directly killed a Golden Flame Sect's disciple who was at the peak of the third step. Chapter 308. A genius remembers love in 1 second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow, who was charging forward, suddenly stopped because 2 crimson cloud needles had appeared on his shoulders. This scene made the spectating members of Medicine Valley worried. They all noticed the red cloud needle on Night Sorrow's shoulder. The battlefield was chaotic. Even First Elder Gong Xian and the others could not see very clearly. However, everyone had the ability to detect and sense, so the scene of the battlefield was imprinted in their minds. At this time, the disciples of the Golden Flame sect surrounded Night Sorrow. They saw the scarlet cloud needle on Night Sorrow's shoulder and knew that he couldn't move. However, at this moment Night Sorrow made his move. With a sweep of his reincarnation spear, he sent a few disciples of the Golden Flame sect flying, breaking their sternum and shattering their internal organs. What's the situation? Old Nine, do you know? The Great Elder looked at Yang Lei and asked. Scarlet cloud needles can't do anything to 13. They have made the wrong decision, Yang Lei said with narrowed eyes. You have poison needles, do you think we don't? Lu Peng was infuriated when he saw someone shoot scarlet cloud needles at Night Sorrow. He took out his rotten bones and aimed at the leader of the Golden Flame sect. Lu Peng's speed was so fast that the members of the Golden Flame sect were not prepared for it. One of them managed to dodge it, but the other one who was fighting with Huanan was hit. After being hit by the bone-rotting needle, this middle-aged man with a peak spirit-severing stage cultivation base from the Golden Flame sect fell to the ground and turned into a pool of blood. Love Gong Little Say Kulu Peng continued to release poison needles, killing a few Golden Flame sect disciples with high cultivation. Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and dodged any late 4th Order martial artists he encountered. If he encountered early 4th Order and mid-4th Order martial artists, he would violently attack them. Then he rushed to the peak of the stone mountain and fought with the Golden Flame sect's disciples. In just a short while, Night Sorrow had killed more than a dozen disciples of the Golden Flame sect. The area under his feet was covered in blood. Night Sorrow's quick and brutal slaughter had attracted the attention of the Golden Flame sect's disciples. A late-stage spirit-severing expert from the Golden Flame sect rushed to the peak and attacked Night Sorrow. This person was very smart. He knew that Night Sorrow's strength was tyrannical, and his Jun Qi attribute was also difficult to restrain, so he didn't want to clash head-on with Night Sorrow. Instead, he surrounded Night Sorrow and attacked with his sword Qi, which made things a little difficult for Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow was fighting with this disciple of the Golden Flame sect, other disciples of the Golden Flame sect came to besiege Night Sorrow. They had all learned how to use sword Qi and saber Qi to attack. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow was unable to attend to one thing and lost sight of another. His back was struck by a saber light. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.ichuxs. The saber light broke through Night Sorrow's protective Jin Qi, and its attacking power was greatly reduced. In addition, Night Sorrow was wearing an ice silk soft robe, so the saber light only left a wound on his waist. Night Sorrow was protected by the energy of the myriad Tao Tome, so this wound was only a simple superficial wound. However, he knew that danger was coming. As his thoughts turned, Night Sorrow rushed to one side. These people's cultivation was higher than his. Once he was trapped, he would be easily dismembered by their energy attacks. Night Sorrow's indomitable charge made the person who intercepted him unlucky. His weapon was directly knocked away, and his body was sent flying by the reincarnation spear. His sternum was shattered, and it seemed that he would not be able to survive. However, Night Sorrow was still surrounded. The disciples of the Golden Flame sect were determined to kill Night Sorrow first. This was because someone recognized Night Sorrow and knew that Night Sorrow was a genius disciple of the Medicine Valley. This situation made Huanan and Lu Peng anxious. After killing their opponents, they rushed to the Stone Mountain. After killing the disciples of the Golden Flame sect, Huanan and Lu Peng rushed to Night Sorrow's back and broke through the encirclement. 13, are you okay? Huanan asked worriedly. I'm fine. The scarlet cloud needle on Night Sorrow's shoulder was long gone. That place was protected by the ice silk soft robe. Then continue to kill. Huanan and Lu Peng began to chase after the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Night Sorrow was not idle either. How is this possible? Qifeng, how can your scarlet cloud needle be ineffective? Could it be that he has a protective treasure robe? An old man from the Scarlet Cloud sect asked the man who fired the scarlet cloud needle. Then he spoke of his own guess. Soon the battle ended. Night Sorrow's face was slightly red. The high-intensity battle did not make him feel tired. Instead, it made him feel excited. Read the original chapter on GY. Fighting in a crisis was the best way to hone one's combat experience. Knight Sorrow felt that his spear skills had improved a lot. The battle is over. We can retreat now, Huanan said to Knight Sorrow. At this time, the remaining disciples of the Golden Flame sect had already retreated. Knight Sorrow nodded and followed the people of the Medicine Valley back to the Medicine Valley area. Many people in the Medicine Valley were injured. However, compared to the Golden Flame sect, the Medicine Valley had won a big victory. Seeing the group return, the Great Elder and the others came to welcome them. 13, are you okay? How could you rashly go in so deep? The Great Elder's heart was still hanging in suspense. I was a little impulsive, but I'm fine, Knight Sorrow said. But we saw that you were poisoned? Qian Wu, who had been puzzled, asked the question on everyone's mind. I have a protective armor. The red cloud needles did not hurt me, Knight Sorrow explained. In fact, without the ice silk soft armor, Knight Sorrow was not afraid of the red cloud needles. The Great Elder nodded and asked the other disciples of the Medicine Valley to bandage the injured disciples. Knight Sorrow also returned to the animal skin shack. Under the compulsion of Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, he bandaged the wound on his waist. By the time Yishang finished treating his wounds, Gong Xian and the others had arrived. 13, you were too reckless today. Huanan was a little scared. If Knight Sorrow had not been able to hold on, he would have been killed and dismembered. If that had happened, he and Lu Peng would not have been able to answer to Yu Yangyu. Thank you, third senior brother and fifth senior brother, for helping me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to escape, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. A group battle is different from a one-on-one battle. In a group battle, you have to consider your own safety first, Gong Xian said. I know. I will be careful tomorrow, Knight Sorrow said with a nod. Tomorrow the O family will fight. You don't have to go, Huanan said. Then I will fight. I will be careful. Today's situation will not happen again. Knight Sorrow planned to train his combat experience after reaching the 4th stage. While Knight Sorrow was chatting, the Golden Flame sect's camp was also discussing. Elder Qi, why did your red cloud needles fail to work on that guy? Qi Tianqing asked. Qi Tianqing was currently in charge of the Golden Flame sect. Qi Qianli was in charge of the Red Cloud sect. That guy might be wearing a protective armor, Qi Qianli analyzed. Can their poison needles solve the problem? Our sect's disciples have all died. Qi Tianqing's expression was unsightly. After all, the Golden Flame sect had lost many disciples in today's battle. It's the bone-rotting poison. Apart from being decisive and cutting off the poisoned area or taking precautions, there is no other way, Qi Qianli said. Qi Tianqing's face turned ashen when he heard Qi Qianli's words. The poisoned arms and thighs could be cut off, but what about the neck and body? Furthermore, what was the difference between self-harm and suicide in battle? Chapter 309. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by Go? Talk Web, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Great news, excavators don't need money anymore. If you gather 10,000 yuan before the night of the 28th, the website will give you 10,000 excavators for free. 10,000 excavators. You can still get your money back after half a month. This is very important to me, I'm crying. If you have the ability, hurry up. This is really a free excavator, 10,000 excavators. You can just click on the excavator page and you can see it. Shizi also had a few words that he wanted to say. This investment is not a scam. That is to say, when you invest, you will be asked to fill in your Alipay or bank card information. Only when you withdraw your money will you be able to invest. 0 original first equals $send on the 13th of October, you can get your money back. This is equivalent to using your money. It's only half a month. Since everyone doesn't care about the interest, I won't say too much. Dan Zhongli is here. If you can't withdraw your money, then you can look for me. Calling everyone, the main thing is that the Myriad Daos Ascension stage really needs the 10,000 excavators given by the website. 10,000 excavators are very important to this book. Chapter 310. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Okay, we will definitely injure them severely. Qi Tianqing nodded. However, he was still worried that the Medicine Valley would have many of these poisonous needles. In the evening, the disciples of the Medicine Valley brought the needles made from the Ice Flood Dragon's teeth under the arrangement of Yang Lei. Night Sorrow dipped the needles in the bone-rotting poison and distributed some to the disciples of the Taishan Peak. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow carried the reincarnation spear and walked out of the beast-skin tent. You still want to fight? Looking at Night Sorrow, the Great Elder asked with a frown. Yes. Night Sorrow replied. The Great Elder hesitated. Today, it wasn't the disciples of the Medicine Valley but the disciples of the O clan. This way the protection of Night Sorrow would be much weaker. Great Elder, if Night Sorrow still wants to fight, we will do our best to protect him. O Zitong and O Ziyun, the two of you will fight today. The O clan's elder, O Shueijia, said to the two peak fourth stage disciples of the O clan. Yes. As long as we are alive, we will not let anything happen to him. O Zitong and O Ziyun bowed and said, Third junior brother, fourth junior brother, fifth junior brother, bring the bone-rotting needles and hold the line at the back. When they release the poisonous needles, release them. Gong Xian instructed Huanan, Huang'an and Lu Peng. The disciples of the O clan and Night Sorrow went out to fight because the disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect were already advancing towards the shoal. Night Sorrow was placed in the middle by O Zitong, O Ziyun and the others. They knew that Night Sorrow's safety was very important. Before the fight even started, the disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect had already released the Scarlet Cloud needles at the O clan. The Scarlet Cloud needles were very precious, but the Scarlet Cloud sect was going all out. After this wave, many people were hit by the needles. Soon after, the disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect began to charge. The O clan members who were attacked could only retreat. Those who were hit by the needles lost their ability to move and couldn't fight. The others could only retreat. Night Sorrow's figure flickered as he passed by the retreating O clan troops and started to obstruct the pursuing Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Seeing this scene, Huanan, Huang'an, and Lu Peng rushed to the front and released their bone-rotting needles at the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples. The O clan's disciples who were hit by the Scarlet Cloud needles were seriously injured and couldn't move. However, they could still survive if they were carried by their companions and retreated. However, they would die if they were hit by the bone-rotting needles. The O clan's disciples retreated. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples who were attacked by the bone-rotting poison needles also retreated. The bone-rotting needles in the hands of Huanan and the other two were truly deadly. In an instant, a group of people turned into a pool of blood. Night Sorrow followed behind and killed a few more Golden Flame sect disciples before retreating. Dozens of O clan's disciples were injured. However, this poison's main toxicity was paralysis. So, it wouldn't be a big problem for them to recover for a period of time after taking the antidote pill. Great Elder, it's all thanks to the Medicine Valley's arrangements. Otherwise, our O clan would have been wiped out. O Shueijia was a little scared. At this moment, Qi Qianli appeared on the rocky mountain above the shallow beach. Is the Medicine Valley planning to have a poison war? Poison war? Are you saying that only the Scarlet Cloud sect can use their poison needles? Our Medicine Valley can't? The Great Elder snorted coldly. Since you don't have it, of course we have to use it. Now that both sides are using poison needles, isn't it meaningless? Qi Qianli was choked by the Great Elder's words. If the Scarlet Cloud sect uses poison needles again, our Medicine Valley will no longer have any scruples. Let's see who's more ruthless. The Great Elder snorted coldly. The Scarlet Cloud sect's request was very shameless. However, it demonstrated a principle. If I have the advantage, I will use it to defeat you. If you have the ability to resist, then you have the right to negotiate. Today's situation was like this. If the Medicine Valley couldn't take out their poison needles, then the Scarlet Cloud sect would use them to dominate the situation. Now that the Medicine Valley had the poison needles, both sides were back to the same starting line. The Medicine Valley was good at refining pills. However, due to the restrictions of the sect, the disciples of the Medicine Valley only refined pills that were beneficial to cultivators. No one dabbled in poisons. 13 We're lucky that you're here. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to get rid of the threat from the Scarlet Cloud sect, Gong Xian said. This way the battle will become routine. Let's see the strength of both sides, Night Sorrow said. We're still at a disadvantage. The Golden Flame sect has a deep foundation and many disciples. If this continues, we'll be the ones at a disadvantage. The Great Elder shook his head and said, without the threat of the poison needles, they know that their disciples died. They were too aggrieved a few days ago, O Shueijia said. The Great Elder nodded. They were at a disadvantage now. It wasn't a disadvantage in strength, but a disadvantage in foundation. It couldn't be seen in a short time. In addition, the Scarlet Cloud sect was also in a difficult situation. The Southern Dipper sect and the Walkabout sect were not to be trifled with. It was only a matter of time before the Scarlet Cloud sect retreated. Everyone knew that if the Medicine Valley wanted to rise, it was inevitable that they would fight to the death with the Golden Flame sect. This was an inevitable process. The Medicine Valley already had a venerable. Of course, it would develop into a superpower. A mountain couldn't have two tigers. The Golden Flame sect couldn't allow the Medicine Valley to become a superpower. O family's disciples have worked hard this time. The Great Elder cupped his hands toward Wuxia. You're too polite, Great Elder. There are sacrifices when there are wars. Since we've chosen to ally with the Medicine Valley, we'll advance and retreat together. Perhaps the O family can fight for a better future, Wuxia said. Don't worry, Elder O. The Medicine Valley won't go back on our words. We can live and die together. The Great Elder made a promise to Wuxia. Wuxia bowed. He believed in the Medicine Valley's alliance. Now that he had the Great Elder's reassurance, he felt more at ease. In the next few days there were chaotic battles every day. Without the threat of the Scarlet Cloud needles and the bone-rotting poison needles, the battles between the two sides were even more tragic. Every time they wouldn't retreat until they killed everyone. In the past few days, Night Sorrow had killed countless enemies. Every battle had his shadow. Night Sorrow was also smart. Every time he killed an opponent he would change his position. He would never give others a chance to surround him. The Golden Flame sect and the Scarlet Cloud sect hated Night Sorrow to the bone. The Medicine Valley and the O family had many members with higher cultivation than Night Sorrow. However, they weren't as lethal as Night Sorrow. As long as they weren't as strong as Night Sorrow, they would be killed in an instant. It would be difficult to resist. Night Sorrow's strength and profound jade spiritual energy were too strong. Chi Chenli wanted to carry out the dragon-slaying plan on Night Sorrow. However, he didn't dare. The sect master and venerable of the Scarlet Cloud sect had personally ordered that disciples with a cultivation higher than Night Sorrow were not allowed to attack Night Sorrow. Chi Chenli also stopped Chi Tiancheng from doing so. The Golden Flame sect and the Scarlet Cloud sect were in an alliance. He didn't want to have any trouble and need the Scarlet Cloud sect to fill the hole. 9x Most L New Chapter Previous 4 Every time Night Sorrow returned from a battle, he would be greeted with a tsunami-like roar. This was a treatment that the other peak Fourth Order disciples of the Medicine Valley and the O family didn't have. Night Sorrow would rush to the front of every battle. He would die with everyone. The other thing was his achievements. During this period of time, too many disciples of the Golden Flame sect and the Scarlet Cloud sect had died under Night Sorrow's hands. Chapter 311. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After the practice of actual combat, Night Sorrow's spear skills and footwork were getting better and better. His combat experience was also increasing. Love Gon Little Say W. Chu. In the beginning, every time Night Sorrow went out to fight, the Great Elder and the others would be on tenterhooks and would warn him again and again. Now that Night Sorrow went out to fight, the Great Elder and Chen Wu would say to kill as many as possible. When Night Sorrow was resting, the disciples of the Medicine Valley and the O family would often drag him to drink. Currently he was the most popular person here. In the largest tent, the Great Elder, Chen Wu and Wuxia were drinking tea. Elders, Yishang is a rare talent that only appears once every 1,000 years. You must nurture him well. Wuxia had a good impression of Night Sorrow, mainly because Night Sorrow got along well with the O family disciples. Great Elder, I think we should let Night Sorrow go to Danding Peak and train him as the next Valley Master, Chen Wu said. This little guy won't accept it. He has a strong personality. Don't force him to do something he doesn't like. The Great Elder shook his head. He understood Night Sorrow and knew that Night Sorrow had his own path in his heart. Wouldn't that be a waste of talent? Wuxia frowned. Look at the long term. If Night Sorrow rises to a height that we can't reach, who would dare to provoke us? The Great Elder said with a smile. Love Gon Little Say W. Chu, that's true. Chen Wu nodded. Do you know why the Scarlet Cloud sect removed the kill order for Night Sorrow? There's a reason for it, the Great Elder said. Chen Wu and Wuxia both nodded. They were all smart people, so they didn't need to be too blunt. It was enough to get the point across. The Great Elder used this method to tell Wuxia that Night Sorrow's future was limitless. It was right to form an alliance with the Medicine Valley. In the next 2 days, the Golden Flame sect and the Scarlet Cloud sect became more and more miserable. After another battle, Qi Qianli went to Stone Mountain. Medicine Valley. It's hard to tell who will win in such a chaotic battle. How about a one-on-one challenge tomorrow? Do you dare to accept? I don't know who you are, but I've never seen anyone more shameless than you. It was you who used the poison needles first, and it was you who said that you didn't need the needles. Now that the battle has reached this stage, the Golden Flame sect and the Red Cloud sect can't hold on any longer, so you want to change your strategy? The first elder was a little angry. So you don't dare? If we lose, we'll retreat, Qi Qianli said. It's not up to you to decide whether to retreat or not. What? Can't the Red Cloud sect withstand the pressure from the Southern Dipper sect and the Freedom sect? The first elder sneered. Qi Qianli's face turned ugly after hearing the first elder's words. The first elder was telling the truth. After he sent a request for reinforcements, the Red Cloud sect replied that they didn't have any extra manpower. They only sent 2 outstanding 4th-ranked disciples. Therefore, Qi Qianli wanted to use a one-on-one challenge to attack the Medicine Valley. Do you dare to accept? If you don't, we'll have to stake everything on a single attack tomorrow. Qi Qianli couldn't afford to waste any more time. He wanted to end the battle here as soon as possible. The Red Cloud sect couldn't afford to be in such a situation. After saying that, Qi Qianli left Stone Mountain. He announced that it was up to the Medicine Valley to decide whether to accept tomorrow's challenge. Then, the first elder and the others returned to the tent to discuss. If the Red Cloud sect and the Golden Flame sect really went all out, the Medicine Valley and the O family would suffer a great loss. Original version 7 SS attack. Could it be that they sent experts? Qian Wu asked. That's possible. They can't withstand such a group battle, so this is the only way, O Shueijie said. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. If it's possible, we'll challenge them one-on-one. If it's not possible, we'll have to go all out. As long as the Red Cloud sect is defeated, it'll be much easier for us to deal with the Golden Flame sect, the first elder decided. The next day, someone from the Golden Flame sect came to the Stone Mountain. It was Zhan Yu, a peak 4th-ranked disciple. Zhan Yu of the Golden Flame sect, does anyone from the Medicine Valley want to accept the challenge? If you don't, then scram. Zhan Yu said arrogantly in a black robe. I, O Ziyun, will accept the challenge. Just as Nan Nan was about to accept the challenge, O Ziyun of the O family stood up and went to the Stone Mountain with his saber. Then the two began to fight. The people from the Medicine Valley frowned. O Ziyun was of the Earth attribute, while Zhan Yu was of the Wind attribute. The Earth attribute had high attack power and defense, but its attack speed was not as fast as the Wind attribute. After a while, O Ziyun was suppressed. After a few rounds, O Ziyun was killed by Zhan Yu. At this time, Nan Nan stood up and walked towards the Stone Mountain. Medicine Valley, Taishan Peak, Nan Nan. Nan Nan stood up and rushed towards Zhan Yu. Nan Nan was of the Wind attribute just like Zhan Yu. Now, it all depended on who had more experience and who was stronger. There would not be any attribute suppression between the two. Seeing Nan Nan attack, Zhan Yu waved his sword and fought with Nan Nan. Both of them fought with speed. Both of them were experts in speed. The Stone Mountain was filled with their shadows. Eldest senior brother, can third senior brother do it? Night Sorrow was worried. Yes. Your third senior brother has the most solid foundation among us. It'll be hard to defeat him without reaching the 5th rank. Gong Xian was very confident in Nan Nan. They had been fellow disciples for half of their lives, so they knew each other very well. After fighting for 15 minutes, the difference between them was obvious. Zhan Yu was suppressed by Nan Nan. This was a display of combat experience. Zhan Yu's speed was very fast, but Huanan could accurately determine Zhan Yu's movement path and would attack in advance. Zhan Yu was furious. His sword glowed with a golden light, and he attacked Nan Nan. After reaching the 4th rank, one could release their chi externally, but the attack power was not very high. If the opponent was strong, they would not be able to break through the opponent's chi shield. Therefore, both Nan Nan and Zhan Yu kept their chi inside. They both wanted to kill in one blow. At this time, Nan Nan's fighting style changed. He started to move around instead of fighting Zhan Yu head-on. He knew that Zhan Yu was using the Golden Flame sect's ultimate skill, the Golden Light Sword. As soon as Nan Nan changed his tactics, Zhan Yu started to become aggressive. Seeing Zhan Yu's movements, Nan Nan snorted. He did not block Zhan Yu's sword. Instead, he twisted his body and slashed at Zhan Yu's chest. Zhan Yu's face changed. Nan Nan's fighting style was a lose-lose. He could hit Nan Nan, but Nan Nan would also hit him. The main point was that Nan Nan's body twisted. Zhan Yu's attack would not be effective. He would only be able to injure Nan Nan, but he would have to pay with his life. After that, Nan Nan ignored Zhan Yu's attacks and went straight for a lose-lose battle. His body would often twist, and he would always be able to avoid his vital parts. At most he would be injured and Zhan Yu would die. This was the dragonfish movement technique he cultivated. With a roar, Zhan Yu retreated. He was no match for Nan Nan. Nan Nan did not chase after Zhan Yu. He retreated back to the Medicine Valley. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.